Well, howdy everybody. Welcome to a brand new Do Not Worry stream. I'm coming to you solo from the heart of Lebanon, folks. In the 09, folks, from Zoo. How you guys doing tonight? We have ourselves a chill solo stream. I'm not completely alone, folks. I'm joined by little Maki. Got his favorite little blankie. He's happy to join us. He's here. He chilling. Maki, you doing good? You doing good? You stretching? Oh yeah, you got to get some of that stretch in. That's right. That's right. You got to bake some cookies. That's right. You bake them cookies. You drooling all over that blankie. You drooling all over that blanket. We're starting, yes, Dreadful Utopia. We were starting a little bit early, earlier than usual. I want to try to get done a little bit earlier tonight. I don't want to stream till the end of the night. This might be a long video, like a 2.5, 3 hour stream. So I wanted to get through that before we get going with everything, folks. Sorry for the slight delay in starting. Consider joining us on Patreon, supporting our Patreon. Viewers such as yourself support a small independent Lebanese YouTube channel like ours, folks. You guys are the only reason I can hire a crew. Also, our lovely members, anyone joining our YouTube memberships, gifting members, you guys are amazing. We love all of you. Your support is crucial. Anyone engaging in the live chat, but you guys don't have to spend $1 to support the Do Not Worry podcast. All you have to do is engage in the live chat, leave a comment, like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, become a Do Not Warrior. And we appreciate you. We're going to be having a couple of other shows this week, folks. Tomorrow, we are reacting to episode 3 of Her Take. Who do they have on? I forgot her name. She's kind of crazy. Ann Coulter. They have Ann Coulter on, folks. We skipped episode 2 because it seemed like kind of a snooze. But episode 3, we're going to be watching episode 3. Myself, Nour, Karine might join. I need to ask Karine to see if she's available tomorrow. It might be the 3 of us just watching these 4 or 5 cringe ladies, cringing it up together. Hi, everybody in the live chat. We're almost at 100 viewers. How's everybody doing? So today we're going to be reacting to, like the title says, Ethan Klein's going to be talking about has talked about the DC shootings on last week's stream. Kind of made some dangerous points, I would say. And he then interviewed a pro-Israeli Palestinian whose name is Ahmed Fouad AlKhatib. We're going to watch a little bit of a background on this guy that Bad Empanada did. There's a few links that I've opened up to just to check out really quickly. Also, Ethan Klein's been having a meltdown on Instagram for the past weekend. It's been kind of insane. I've never seen someone post this many Instagram stories at once. So it's kind of nuts. Mud, hello everybody. Dreadful Utopia. Is D&D. Hope you guys are doing good. Another little hello from Maki right there. Oh, he's all nice and cozy. All nice and cozy. Okay, so Ethan's Basement is in the house, folks. What's up? What's up? Ethan's Basement, our beloved Ethan's Basement, our VIP. So let me get started. First, let me thank a few of our new patrons who joined us on Patreon. Abductee patrons, Karina, Carillo, Dumb Adult, N.A., Lee, NYC, and Jamal, and Blonde patron, Danielle Richards. Thank you guys so much. We love you. Thank you for the support. We very much appreciate it. So tomorrow, expect a reaction to Her Take episode 3 with Ann Coulter. And Wednesday, I'm gonna do a live reaction for the what's his name? Willie Mack show. He did a video pooping on iDubbbz. So I'm gonna just watch that and kind of make fun of that video in support of our boy iDubbbz. Try to see what the people are saying, what they've been saying. Are people still making the same videos about iDubbbz that they have for the past 3 or 4 years? So we will react to that, and we might have a regular episode of the podcast with the whole crew. But we'll try to have the crew reunited tomorrow. Anyways, enough of my blabbering. How do we start? The DC shootings, folks. I didn't get to talk about those. As you guys know, a dude who put out a manifesto, went out and shot 2 people at an Israeli embassy, 2 young people who work at the embassy. One of them, from what I understand, they were going to get engaged. One of them is a German dude who is not Israeli. Or isn't even Jewish, but joined the Israeli military. He joined the IDF. I don't fully understand what his deal is. But pretty fucked up. You can't have people running around shooting people in the street. You know what I mean? And I can't even read the guy's manifesto because people are getting banned apparently, like Hassan. Hassan is banned off of Twitch. So I'm not even going to risk that over here. But anyways, the point is not that. What's leading to a lot of disturbing shit is his use of the term Free Palestine and how now people are trying to flip it and make it a terrible, a genocidal or violent saying. Let me try to just find the clip. Let's see the guy. Sorry, let me try to find a quick search. CNN, fuck. CNN is horrible, by the way, in terms of
Targeted
like
attack on.
let's. Or actually, wait 1 second. Let me start with Ethan's meltdown on Instagram before we even start with this. How about that? How about that? How about the DC shooting? So Ethan, I just got a couple of things. This was from like a couple of days ago. I made this like thing, this like little video collage. So he was going insane. That's even before the meltdown he had this weekend with Taylor Lorenz. Like, just look at this.
People living in the West have the most power over...
He's saying, reminder, killing random Israelis is the obvious inevitable conclusion of this type of rhetoric. So this was after the DC shootings. Ethan is already blaming like people like Noah Samson and Hassan for activating the shooters. Like, that's insane shit in their rhetoric. Instead of blaming Israel and what they're doing in Palestine.
Anyone else in the world to stop the genocide. We are living in the belly of the beast. We have direct geographical, physical access to the politicians, the propagandists, the weapons companies, and the supply chains that are facilitating this genocide.
Also, shout out, thank you to Noah Samson for having myself and Nour on his stream last week on Friday. We were on there for like an hour or so. It was super fun. Nice to help out, to help raise any money we can for Palestine. So that was awesome. Shout out to Noah Samson, really cool dude. First time I ever like met him. You know, we talked a little bit on Instagram. So very nice. Check it out if you haven't. It was like on day 7th. He's uploaded all the live streams now on his channel. If you guys checked it out, let me know if you enjoyed it in the comments. Haley D, how's it going? Nice to see you. Welcome. She says it's tight on funds. Haley D, we don't need no funds. Just be here. We like your presence is all the funding we need. Let's get back to the video.
Protesting is great. We should keep doing that. But also, you know, I feel like we have to be honest with ourselves. 17 months in, and what is protesting actually accomplished? Raising awareness, sure. Divestment, yeah, in some places. But really, politically, materially, nothing. Israel just killed the most children in its...
So he's basically saying that Noah Samson is leading to... And people like his son saying this.
I think, like, this will never happen, but in a totally just world, any kind of... regardless of your background, any kind of fucking Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a fucking rabid neo-Nazi. And you shouldn't even let someone be the fucking local dog catcher as Felix
Let me know if the audio is okay, by the way, in chat.
was posting.
If the volume's okay.
Bernie Sanders is just he.
So again, he's blaming all this sort of shit, conversations with Bad and Panada. As you watch, Hassan fans and Twitter leftists celebrate the murder of 2 innocent Israelis. Look, honestly, most people were not celebrating the murder of the Israelis. Okay, it's a fucked up situation. You don't want innocent people getting killed in the street. But again, Ethan making such a huge deal out of this and not focusing at all on the hundreds of Palestinians that are being butchered every single day in Gaza. That's just what makes it insane. Like, 2 Israelis get killed. Of course it's sad. Why should the whole world stop for that if no one gives a shit that 200,000 Palestinians have been murdered? That's kind of the thing. And this is a direct result. These people dying is a direct result of Israel. Israel is making Jews around the world less safe by committing these crimes in Gaza on a daily basis. They're making Jewish people living in the rest of the world as like targets by fucking insane people and people who want vengeance. You know, for Gaza, they're going to go attack, like some of them are going to go attack random Jewish people. But in this case, he didn't attack random Jewish people. He attacked 2 Israelis, 2 people who work at the embassy. But I mean, this is what happens when people say that Israel is making Jews less safe. This is exactly what it means. They're causing violence against Jewish people because Israel ties itself to Judaism, and they're purposefully conflating Zionism with Judaism. They have the Star of David on the flag. They graffiti Stars of David in homes that they go in and destroy. They brand their prisoners with Stars of David on their head. They shave Stars of David in their hair, bro. Like, they use knives and do that shit on their chest. Like, what do you think that's going to do around the world, bro? Like, that's what happens. You have some people who go out and shoot them. This is exactly what happens. I've known this as people like Hassan and iDubbbz lecture me about hallucinating threats. So let me reread this. As you watch, Hassan fans on Twitter leftists celebrate the murder of 2 innocent Israelis, understand that me and Hila are just as valid targets to them, and automatically making it about himself. The guy wasn't out shooting Jewish people. This has nothing to do with Judaism. He was out looking for Israeli people who worked at the embassy. It's still fucked up, but I mean, there's a difference there. Israel is the target at this point. I've known this as people like Hassan and iDubbbz lecture me about hallucinating threats. I knew this the moment I ended leftovers. Why would I want to be a member of a community that would literally cheer on my death? There is a toxic, violent, nihilistic extremism brewing on the left, and it should scare all of us. Again, instead of focusing on the actual fascism that's fucking taking place in America, actual Nazis like Elon Musk rising to power, bro. He's just focusing on leftists, Twitch and Twitter leftists, random people on fucking Reddit, random people on Twitter, and Hassan and a couple of other leftist commentators, bro. Like, it is insane. It's insane how much of a victimizing bastard he is. What else do we have here?
In general, because
I'm sure the killer did throw a background check. So, okay, let's hear what he has to say here about Noah.
smart move on not covering current events, by the way. You mean specific current events or in general? Because, yeah, I think... Two pro-peace Jews dead. Read what they were saying. Pro-peace is crazy.
Sorry. So he says, why don't you tell us what they said, you psychopath? I'm sure the killer did a thorough background check on them before deciding to murder them. Now, sure, the guy did seem to be a little bit haphazard. Like, he could have ended up shooting anyone, I think. Like, there could have been non-Israelis working at that embassy. He could have killed anyone. Like, you know what I mean? But I think his target was Israelis. Doesn't make it any fucking better. But anyways.
Read what they were saying.
Okay, then he shares this. According to a witness, the event held at the Jewish Museum focused on humanitarian aid, raising questions such as, how can we meaningfully help both the people of Gaza and those of Israel? How can we bring Muslims, Jews, and Christians together to work side by side and support innocent people? Bro, this is so like, fuck, this is such bullshit. These are such platitudes. Let's bring people together. Stop the fucking genocide. Stop butchering Palestinians every single day. That's how you fucking, that's step one. Step one. None of this fucking kumbaya bullshit. Shouldn't both Israeli and Palestinian protesters support this kind of initiative? It's devastating. Bright young people who were working to build a better world were shot in the streets simply for attending a Jewish event. Again, I don't think it was a Jewish event. It was something at the fucking Israeli embassy, bro. So, anyways, again, doesn't make it fucking right. But like, again, they're making it into an anti-Semitic attack. That's all they want to do. They're making it anti-Semitic. And then this other tweet, I'm an ardent believer in the vision that was outlined in the Abraham Accords and believe that the Abraham Accords are fucked up, by the way. The Abraham Accords is what Donald Trump's son-in-law fucking designed, wrote, you know what I mean? And that's the peace deal that they signed with like Dubai, that they were trying to get signed with Saudi Arabia. It leaves the Palestinians completely out of the equation. It's like they don't even fucking exist. That's what they're boasting about. That's what Ethan is highlighting on his Instagram stories. So he's an ardent believer in the Abraham Accord and believed that expanding in the circle of peace with our Arab neighbors and pursuing regional cooperation is in the best interest of the state of Israel and the Middle East as a whole. To this end, I advocate for interfaith dialogue and intercultural understanding. This is what Yaron Lisinski wrote on LinkedIn before he was murdered last night. How does he plan to do that while the Palestinians are being butchered? How are they going to take part in interfaith dialogue and intercultural understanding while they're literally being fucking starved to death? They're literally being fucking starved to death. Like, what the fuck do they expect, bro? Anyways, here's Maki just chilling again, folks. What else? And this is a 6-minute fucking thing. Here's a picture of them, young couple. You will read people saying that I'm doing hasbara, which means propaganda in Hebrew. What they really mean when they say hasbara is Jewish propaganda, because just saying propaganda isn't good enough to describe what the Jews do. That's why they use the Hebrew word for it. Is there a special word for Chinese, Russian, or North Korean propaganda, or is Jewish propaganda just so sneaky and insidious it must be specifically qualified? Again, look at the fucking insane points that he's making. What does that have to do with anything? That's what they call it in Israel, bro. That's literally what they call it there. We can call it propaganda if you want. Would you rather just call it propaganda? Israeli propaganda. Who gives a fuck what it's called? Here's Sarah Milgram's LinkedIn. Okay, he shared her LinkedIn. And here's a montage of like creators. He's trying to make them seem violent. Like they're the reason, not Israel, folks. Israel and Netanyahu's government and Yoav Gallant, the IDF, they're not the reason why this violence occurred in Washington, D.C. Denims and Sean the Black and Mike from PA are the reason why this happened. Isn't that insane? Bob Vorn, by the way, when I look at my phone, folks, I'm going to be looking at like chat and super chats. Bob Vorn sends $5 and says, update on the Lebanese stream. I have a request for you to visit Akakia land in Majdal, Selm and look up the house at the peak. The narrative on S Lebanon is deceiving. What is S Lebanon though? If you can clarify, and then Nour or someone will send me your clarification. But I screenshotted your update on the Lebanon. But the IRL streams in Lebanon are not going to be... I just need to figure out the technology. It might take a couple of weeks or something, but I do plan on doing some streams. And I would want to go to Akakia land in Majd al-Salam, for sure. And I'm probably saying it wrong. In the south. Yeah, definitely. I'd be down to go in the south. Let's go, baby. South. Yeah, I want to go to the south. Bob Vorn, I got you. So, let's continue Ethan's stories a little bit before we get into all of this. And if this is taking too long for us, let me know.
Number, okay? 30K to anyone who'll make this dipshit disappear.
Bro, that Destiny guy needs to get Not gonna fucking lie.
It would just be so easy to it would solve all of our problems. Like, we would have socialism now at this point, right? We would have socialism at this point if someone just went out of their way and it would be so easy.
Thing that happens, I mean, like,
so,
holy
you see
shit.
Sean the Black, folks, he's the reason why this happened. Then members are feasting, folks. Look at that. Who wouldn't want to miss a members live stream with Ela Klein? Hassan put his chat emoji. He put his chat into emoji-only mode while he reads the shooter's manifesto. He's now done more to protect this terrorist than me when we were friends. Despite being in emoji mode only, his audience was still able to convey their support for the murderous scumbag. And this goes on and on. He's describing the shooting. But just all the stuff. Imagine saying this to any other minority group in the wake of a tragedy. This was Hassan tweeting. 2 Israeli embassy officials get killed, and Ethan Klein predictably moves to make the moment about himself. From the comfort of his mansion, as the criminal state his community keeps defending continues with its unlimited child murder. And then Ethan says, imagine saying this to any other minority group in the wake of a violent tragedy. Again, Ethan Klein, there is a violent tragedy taking place every single day in Palestine, in Gaza, and it is caused by Israel and the IDF, the people that you keep running cover for. All right, my dude? So anyways... He shares more. He shares an interview between iDubbbz and Noah Samson talking about like the skulls, and then he starts mentioning. Okay, he's looking at the comments here.
The serial number still attached.
We were like, do you need any water? Like, are you okay? And I asked him like, how's your night going besides this, whatever, and like, welcome to the museum.
They're saying my sincere condolences. I really hope the suspect is okay. I'm against any kind of violence.
And he
Someone
goes,
says free Palestine.
oh, what kind of museum is this? And I'm like, it's a Jewish museum. And he's like,
Only
do you
two?
think that's
I mean, look,
why
these comments
they
are
did
fucked
this?
up.
And I'm like,
but he's just obsessing over fucking random people on Instagram, bro. And then, just randomly, Ian lost his virginity to Anissa, and he had never had a girlfriend or been with a woman before that. This is what he told me shortly before he started dating her. Imagine, folks, this is a 40-year-old man on an extended weekend, non-stop posting on Instagram, talking about a guy's virginity and when he had sex for the first time. Like, bro, who gives a fuck? Like, dude, imagine. Posting stories takes time. Downloading these videos, uploading them to fucking Instagram. He has to download them, he has to post them, or he has to ask the crew to download them. He's spending all day staring at his phone. Like, why doesn't his wife fucking tell him, like, yo, Ethan, take a chill pill, bro. Hang out with the fucking kids. Polish Pusher sends $5 and says, love from Minneapolis, so grateful for your perspectives. Let any hate or bullying fuel you. It means your message is reaching a wide audience. Well, thank you, Polish Pusher. We love Minneapolis. We're happy to have you here. 350 of you guys right here in the live chat. Thank you for being here. So Ethan is spending all this fucking time, bro, an entire fucking weekend posting shit on Instagram, downloading videos, downloading clips, nonstop pictures, screenshotting DMs, going to Reddit and downloading pictures and screenshotting more DMs and leaking DMs. And it's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you? Yeah, exactly. Someone say, Majin Oob says Ela is just as bad as him. Exactly. She's an enabler. So he's talking about his fucking virginity, bro. What the fuck? And this, I never planned on sharing that story, but after seeing him call the skulls humorous, I realized there is nothing they won't say or do, and so I'm returning the favor. My boy has not been so much as touched by the opposite sex before Anissa. In itself, it's not a big deal, but in the context of their relationship, I find it very humorous. He's just fucking shaming the guy. Like, who cares? Who gives a shit about any of this personal stuff? This is so petty. This is so vile. This is so childish. Again, a 40-year-old man with 3 children who desperately feeds off of this drama on his Instagram to keep his show relevant. He's a disgusting human being, honestly. This is so petty. This is so messed up. And he is literally just trying to garner. He's getting the incel crowd. He's getting the incel crowd. That's all he's doing. He's getting all the incels that hate iDubbbz and wants to get the easy dunk, the easy views by shitting on iDubbbz, which apparently is a whole industry unto itself. Then he says that this is what Ian and Anissa see when they go to bed. And yeah, he tweeted something about Anissa and like who gives a like insane shit. So let me just enough of Ethan's stories. He has a whole bunch more, folks. He's got a whole bunch more. Like Keeker Garden Sailor Moon has just become a do not warrior. Welcome to thank you for becoming a member of the channel. We love you. So look at this. He's got stories on iDubbbz being like cheap and not leaving tips. If you guys want to pause this and read this, you know what I mean. But like someone shared something on their subreddit that iDubbbz went to a restaurant and was kind of cheap. And then the snark. Oh yeah, and then the snark sub. So okay, this is related to the other thing. The guy we're gonna watch, Ahmed, Fouad, AlKhatib. You know, pushed a charity that's not really a charity, so people started reporting it, and he's trying to get these people reported to the FBI. He's trying to get this random dude reported to the FBI. It's crazy, folks. Anyways, let's stop. He's got more stuff. He's got the 40-year-old empath. Have you ever heard anyone project this hard in your life? It's kind of crazy. It's kind of, I don't even want to look at these anymore. Yikes for Hassan getting banned. Of course, he's celebrating. This lady was sent Teddy Fresh, and she didn't want it, so he got upset. He made a whole video about that. If you guys want to watch it, look at that. He called her another dipshit, folks. Just a second. There's so much to look at, honestly, bro. This guy's fucking nuts. This is the last thing we're going to look at, and then we're going to move on to the episode. But it's just so crazy. Okay, sorry. I'm just having some issues. Hope you guys are having fun in the live chat. What am I looking for here? Where is that lady? There she is. So much going on here, folks.
Tiny. Okay, also, speaking of that, you know who hit me up today on Instagram? Teddy Fresh. They said, hey, we'd love to send you some stuff. How about, how about that?
So she's
sorry, I don't know. Do I need like media training now that I'm like have more people in here? How about how about
so she's not interested in Teddy Fresh. She's just making some jokes.
how about oh brother, this guy stinks. The fuck? Are you out of your freaking mind?
So instead of dealing with the situation like a mature adult and being like, you know what, okay, she doesn't want to be associated with our brand for any personal reason. It's none of our business, honestly. You know what I mean? You offered, she rejected it. And here's what he does. Like, what do you think that makes Teddy Fresh look like? Here's another dipshit I need to deal with. Why can't y'all take a day off? Why don't you take a day off, Ethan? It's a fucking holiday weekend, isn't it? Memorial Day or something? Go watch a movie, Mission Impossible. Or Lilo and Stitch with the family. Why are you on Instagram 24/7? What else came out this weekend? Go watch Final Destination 5, bro. Or whatever the fuck it's called. What are you doing? So yeah, so brave to dogpile a Jewish creator who has had the CPS and skull sent to his house. Bro, the constant victimization. Oh my God. If anyone says anything about Ethan now, if anything says anything about Ethan, but I'm a Jewish man who's had CPS called on me. Like, who the fuck can take this man seriously at this point? Who the fuck can take out fucking who can take him seriously, bro? Who's so brave to dogpile a Jewish creator who has had CPS and skull sent to his house in retaliation for thinking Israeli civilians shouldn't be slaughtered 2 days after a terrorist executed 2 Israeli embassy workers? Oh my God, look at what a fucking disclaimer, bro. Anytime you want to fucking criticize Ethan Klein, you have to remember, folks, that he's a Jewish creator who's making content at a time where 2 Jewish people got killed at an embassy and he had CPS called on his kids. So think twice before criticizing. And then he'll sue you if you do criticize him. It's insane, bro. This is so whiny. This is the whiniest fucking tweet I've ever seen in my life, to be completely honest. This is nuts. Anyways, let's move on from this and let's watch Ethan actually discuss the DC shootings. Before we get to that, the framing, there's a dangerous framing happening on these DC shootings, which is expectedly, because the shooter said free Palestine. I tried to load a video here, a CNN video. Let's see if we can watch it real quick.
Jews in our nation's capital. A gunman fatally shooting 2 staff members from the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., right near the Capitol Jewish Museum. This morning, a suspect is in custody. Police say he shouted, "Free, free Palestine," as he was...
Yeah, let's just watch.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
So he's saying free, free Palestine. And what do you guys think is going to happen when that happens? Obviously, you got people like Noah Kokva tweets, "Make no mistake, if you screamed free Palestine, you helped pull the trigger." That's from JewBelong.org. Insane shit. Like, you know what I mean? When they say, oh, if you say from the river to the sea, Palestine should be free, will be free. That's crazy because you're suggesting that you should kill all Jews. Well, now there's like, why don't you just say free Palestine? Well, then if you say free Palestine, well, you can't say that because you've just pulled the trigger and you've just participated in killing 2 Jewish people at an Israeli embassy. 2 Israelis, by the way. One of them wasn't even Jewish, I guess. So, what the fuck? Again, it's all about policing speech. It's all about stopping dissent. It's all about not letting people fucking talk about Palestine, not letting anyone criticize Israel. This is all what it's about. That's all what it's about, folks. It's as clear as day. We got more posts like this. Daniel Rubenstein. Free Palestine should be as taboo as the N-word. Look at that fucking idiot. Free Palestine should be as taboo as the N-word. David Draymond says, "You all have blood on your hands, all of you, like you couldn't see this coming. Fuck the hell off, Sarah Milgram, Yaron Lichinsky." Again, by the way, I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but Yaron Lichinsky, like, retweeted on his Twitter, like, the denial of the fact that there's hunger in Gaza right now. Like, okay, RIP, but, like, the guy's kind of a dipshit. What am I supposed to say? You know what I mean? A lot of victims can be dipshits. And this is the GOAT. This is the clip from, you've all seen this definitely. This is a clip on CNN. Dana Bash, by the way. Dana Bash was like in Apac's pocket. I don't know what's up with Dana Bash, but she is just sucking on the Israel teat. She loves sucking on that Israeli teat, folks. So let's see what she had to say.
You just heard the alleged killer saying free Palestine. We hear that on the streets. We hear that on college campuses. And people who have been worried that has been turned into a call to arms and a call to action and violence.
Yes.
Others claim that it's not. What do you think now that we have seen this?
I think there's no question, whatever its initial intent and whatever people were saying initially or meant it has become a call for violence, and not violence against Israelis, which is wrong, but violence against Jews. And anybody who tries to separate the two and try to say, oh, I'm just against Palestine, I'm just, against Israel's policies in Palestine or in Gaza, and I'm not anti-Semitic. This was anti-Semitism, pure and simple.
Insanity. Sorry, I got distracted by a message. I got to watch this again. But like, this is insane. And the fact that Dana Bash is even asking this question, that's the problem. The fact that she even had to ask this question is kind of insane.
You just heard the alleged killer saying free Palestine. We hear that on the streets. We hear that on college campuses. And
is the volume okay, by the way, guys? Is the volume okay? Can you please let me know?
Who have been worried that has been turned into a call to arms and a call to action and violence.
Yes.
Others claim that
call to arms and a call to violence. Free Palestine, folks. What are we supposed to say? What are we supposed to say? What more than free Palestine? Just like stop killing Gazans. I guess that's what they don't even mention the word Palestine. We can't even recognize that Palestine exists. Stop killing Gazans, I guess. Bit low. Got you. That's all they want us to say. Please. Please. No more killing Gazans. Spare the Gazans. Okay, I can't raise it right now. It's not working. It's fucking insane.
It's not. What do you think now that we have seen this?
I think there's no question, whatever its initial intent and whatever people were saying initially or meant it has become a call for violence. And not
what do you mean? What the fuck does that mean? Whatever the initial intent is just 2 words: free Palestine. Palestine should be free. Palestinian people should be free. They should not be living under the boot of Israelis. They should not be living in an apartheid state. They should not be living in a Jewish supremacy state. They should have the same rights as the rest of Israelis. That's what should be happening. What do you mean, lady?
Not violence against Israelis, which is wrong, but violence against Jews. And anybody who tries to separate the two and try to say, oh, I'm just against Palestine, I'm just...
And anyone who tries to separate the two, this is the most dangerous shit. This is when you're conflating Zionism and Judaism again. And anyone who tries to separate the two, for, you know, if you're saying this is against Jews or against Israelis, no, that's the exact fucking problem. You have to separate the two. That's why we're here, because people can't separate the two anymore. That's why the guy killed these people.
Oh, I'm just against...
Well, actually, no, he killed them because they're Israelis. That's why, but like, I mean, you know.
I'm just, you know, against Israel's policies in Palestine or in Gaza, and I'm not anti-Semitic. This was anti-Semitism pure and simple. That he happened to have killed 2 Israeli staff members didn't matter.
You just heard the alleged killer
Didn't
saying,
matter.
"Free Palestine."
That he happened to kill 2 Israeli embassy. That didn't matter. Of course it matters. It matters. It's still fucked up, but it matters. There's a big difference between that and 2 random Jewish people at a synagogue. It's very different. And he said it, and in his manifesto, he talked about Israel all the time with no mention of Judaism or Jews or anything like that. So again, that whole framing is crazy. Anyways, let's watch Ethan Klein talk about the DC shootings. Let me just speed it up here real quickly. We're going to watch it at 1.25x. Audio should be good, hopefully. The DC shootings. Let's go.
What did they? Okay, so anyway, yes, let's move on. We're running. So wait, he's calling at 3. Okay.
And after that,
so
we're gonna get to
let me just try to.
After this, we get to the conversation with Ahmed, Fouad, AlKhatib.
Blast through this Hassan stuff.
Nice, yeah.
Let's see what Hassan's been up to since this DC shooting. On the evening of May 21st, that was 2 days ago, 2 staff members outside of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. No, sorry, 2 staff members of the Israeli embassy were tragically shot and killed outside of a Capital Jewish museum. The victims, Yaron Lishinsky and Israeli diplomat Sarah Lynn Milgram, an American citizen, were a couple planning to get engaged. The suspect...
One sec, folks.
Rodriguez, a 31-year-old from Chicago, allegedly opened fire on the couple as they were leaving a diplomatic event hosted by the American Jewish Committee. Rodriguez.
Yeah, the guy wasn't Jewish. He was Christian. He's like a Christian German dude or something who willingly like joined the IDF. That's pretty. I mean, that's pretty fucking crazy if you ask me. And you guys got Maki still taking a nap over here. A little cat break.
Free Palestine. It's on. There's a video of it. During his arrest, and allegedly told the police, "I did it for Palestine. I did it for Gaza." Rodriguez has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Anyway, he's been charged. They arrested him. Yada yada. The FBI is investigating it as a hate crime, which I love. It's like...
We're not sure.
It's a tough one to call. So obviously, as soon as this happened, there was going to be a lot of finger pointing, right? And a lot of shirking of responsibility. Obviously, this is exactly what me and a lot of people have been talking about. That when Hassan and iDubbbz looked me in the...
when Hassan... Oh, that's right, folks. Again, the level of delusion is just insane. Instead of talking about the real problem, which is Israel's acts against the Palestinians in Gaza, the genocide that is causing people to act out, that is the problem. Not Hassan, bro. He's so obsessed. He is so obsessed with a Twitch streamer. With a fucking Twitch streamer, as if Hassan has any power to do something like this. As if Hassan has ever called for any fucking violence, bro. Instead of the actual fucking culprit that is the fucking Israeli government and the IDF... He's out here blaming this fucking shooting on Twitch streamers, bro. How insane is that shit? That's fucking insane.
Fucking face as non-Jewish people and tell me that I'm hallucinating threats, that I'm hallucinating anti-Semitism. This is exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. And these were a young Israeli couple. This shooter went there and shot 2 people at random. He went outside the Jewish museum, who was having an event that night, and he just killed the first 2 people outside of it that were coming out from the event. So this whole narrative that
Yeah, he's saying random people. They're Jewish embassy employees, not Jewish, Israeli embassy employees. You see the conflation that they're causing, that Israel wants to cause. So they worked at the Israeli embassy, and there was like a Jewish event or something, or at the Jewish center. Sorry, so it's the Jewish center and the Israeli embassy. So that's what it was. He didn't just kill random Jewish people. He didn't go out like a synagogue or something. But he could have. To be honest, he could have. By the description of the attack, he could have walked up to someone. I mean, I'm guessing not all of the guests were Jewish. Just like one of the guys that he killed was a Christian. But like, you know what I mean? It's an unhinged fucking attack that could have killed anyone. You know what I mean? The fact that he did happen to kill Israeli embassy employees, that could have just been like a coincidence. But that was his goal. Like that was his goal, to kill Israeli embassy employees. But who knows if he managed to I guess pull it off.
That it's just not anti-Semitic, because is bullshit. He could have easily just killed some American Jews that had nothing to do with Israel, but he happened to kill.
He killed a Christian, bro. He killed a Christian, so he is kind of an idiot. But I mean, a Christian who worked for the Israeli embassy, but still.
2 Israelis, which makes it apparently, if you ask a lot of people online, totally fine.
I was reading they were going to get engaged next week.
Yeah, Israel.
Beautiful young couple, honestly, very. And the details of it is just horrific. Like when it's one thing to read and be like, they were murdered and that's horrible. But then you read like he went up, he shot them in the back, and then the girl was trying to crawl away, and he went up and shot her in the head twice, and then the guy stood up and tried to
that's fucked
help
up.
her, and he shot him.
What does this accomplish? What does this guy shooting these 2 Israeli embassy employees accomplish? It's just a tragedy for their families. I mean, if the guy volunteered to join the IDF, that's like. You know what I mean? That's fucked up. He's not the greatest person on earth, but like, does he deserve to be executed in public like that? Probably not. Like, you know what I mean? That's pretty fucked up. And of course, like the description of the murder is going to be fucked up and it's going to be messed up. But like to make this about Jewish people, like it could have been me or Ela. He's running around just shooting Jewish people. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. It's people angry about about the IDF's action in Gaza, and some of them taking matters into their own hands to disastrous results.
Head again. Like he assassinated them both in cold blood.
Yeah.
And you know, people like Hassan want to pretend like this is terrible or whatever. This is what you've been. This is what you want. What do you think globalized the Intifada means?
This is also.
This is what the Intifada is.
This is what we all knew from that first episode after October 7, where you and Hassan were talking about what happened, and Hassan would refuse.
So globalize the like. Who's calling for globalizing the Intifada, bro?
So any tiny bit of empathy to the Israeli side.
This one guy was like, and all these heroes parachuted in and ruined these hippies' day. I'm sure they're fine. Ha ha ha. It's like, what?
It's like, to us, it's been clear that it's heading in this direction.
It's funny, these guys love talking about
Folks, Marina Nimis, our beloved Marina, just gifted a Do Not Worry membership to one lucky to Corky. Corky, welcome to the family. You're now a Do Not Warrior, thanks to Marina. W's in the chat for Marina, folks.
This is what you've been doing. You've been building intentionally. There's no other outcome that makes sense than this. When you dehumanize an entire group of people, when you Hassan described anyone who's ever had any type of...
That's what's fun. Like the dude is just sitting, how long is he talking about this? From 2:06 to 20 minutes, okay? Now Ethan is out here discussing the DC shootings under the context that this is Hassan's fault. That this is the way Hassan talks about politics and the way Hassan talks about Israel is leading people to run around and shoot people at embassies. That's literally the framing. Instead of looking at the actual cause, which is the fucking genocide in Gaza, no. How can I make this about me? This is Hassan's fault. Not only that, the victims could have been me and my wife. And now that's what we have to listen to for the next 20 fucking minutes. A man-child fucking making this about himself.
Zionist feelings in their life is not fit to be a dog catcher who's a Nazi. This is what happens, right?
Is the audio okay,
you're
guys?
Basically giving these people
Is the audio all right? Should I turn it up? Should I turn it down? Not my audio, but the podcast audio.
Permission to act out violence on anyone outside of a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C. And, you know.
And he knows that too. I mean, he's calling me a terrorist now regularly. He knows what he's doing when he does that.
If you're a terrorist, then that justifies the craziest people in his audience doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, these people who were murdered, who people are celebrating now online and making excuses
Well,
for.
I mean, technically, Ethan called you a terrorist. He made Ethan admit that you're a terrorist, and now, you know, that's the reality of the situation. If the IDF is a terrorist organization, and you, Ela, you're an ex-IDF, you were at one time a terrorist. You are now an ex-terrorist. I don't make the rules.
This and that. There's essentially no difference between them and us. They're just two Israelis that happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Weren't they also American, by the way?
One was American.
Okay.
So the lady was an American Jewish person who became an Israeli citizen, and then the other dude is a Christian German who became an Israeli citizen. How does that work? How can you become? Let me look that up, actually. Let me try to. Isn't that an interesting thing to try and figure out? Can Christians become Israeli citizens? Maria G gifted 1 Do Not Worry membership. Thank you, Maria, for supporting the channel. We love you for it. So here is on Google. Yes, Christians can become Israeli citizens. Israeli citizenship is granted to those born in Israel, those with at least one parent who is a citizen, and those who naturalize after meeting specific requirements. While the law of return primarily grants citizenship to Jews, non-Jews can also obtain citizenship through naturalization after residing in Israel for a certain period, renouncing other nationalities and demonstrating basic Hebrew knowledge. Oh, so you can even volunteer to go live there as like a Christian. That's pretty dope. That's pretty insane. Let's go. I'm kidding, folks, obviously. Fuck that shit. So anyways, back to Ethan Klein. Where's that fucking shit? Let's go.
I think. But they were both Israelis. That could have been me and Ela. And if it was me and Ela, these people would be cheering. They would be celebrating.
That could have been, like, automatically. You know what I mean? He mourned those people for 2 seconds. Oh, so sad. Beautiful couple are going to get engaged. Anyways, it could have been me and Ela. And it's all because of Hassan. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Way to make this shit about yourself. Way to make it about yourself. Oh my God, bro. The insanity.
It would be.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so
Ela's, oh, yeah.
People would be cheering. They would be celebrating. They would be.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they would be. They would not be celebrating, folks. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, bro. Like probably some insane people online might be celebrating. Of course, okay, yeah. There are people celebrating my death if it happens. Like, who gives a fuck?
And so, why the fuck would I ever want to be a member of a community that would celebrate my fucking murder? That doesn't sound like a community that's got my back, personally. I mean, that's kind of the definition of not having my back.
That's not what's happening, bro. Let me take a second to just read a couple of super. DOC Dismay, a member for 2 months, just said, I think the Christian guy had a Jewish parent, and that's how. Okay, so he had a Jewish parent, and that's how he became an Israeli citizen. Nugzaltal sends $5 and says, Ethan's conflation of Zionism with Judaism causes more harm than Hassan, who's actually combating anti-Semitism. Ela is also being despicable. They're being horrible. They're being horrible. They're doing everything that's wrong. His conversation with Sam Cedar should have been eye-opening. Instead, he's like, oh, I made Sam Cedar look like an idiot. It's like, oh my God, he is such a lost cause. When this all started, I thought there was hope. For one little instant, I was like, you know what, maybe Ethan and Ela can kind of see the light. Now they're so far gone. They're so far gone into the other direction. Like, Ela's got a blue Star of David tattoo colored after the Israeli flag on her hand. Like, it's all just gone insanely crazy, folks.
Shooting me in the back, more like, literally. And so, you know, it should be obvious to anyone of sane mind that looks at this and say, these were 2 innocent people who were murdered in cold blood. Also, this guy who's doing it for a movement, on behalf of a movement, which is already, this movement is getting like a lot of bad press from this and that. And like it's a movement with a really good intention.
A movement is getting some bad press, bro. Like, the movement to stop a genocide. Oh, this hurts the movement. Bro, at the end of the day, like, yeah, some fucking psycho went out and shot some people. That's fucked up. But like, the movement as a whole shouldn't be hurt because of that. We're trying to end a fucking genocide over here, and he's like trying to make it, oh, this makes the movement, this makes you guys look bad. Oh no. Like, bro, there are bigger things fucking happening here, man. Hundreds of Palestinians are being butchered every day. Does that make the IDF movement look bad? No. What the fuck, man? We got one of our favorite Canadians, Kierkegaarden Sailor Moon, sends $5 Canadian. Funny, AFAC, USA, and DE both refuse to recognize dual citizenship on their natural-born citizens unless the second citizenship is Israeli. G. Damn, I didn't even know that. That's crazy. I'm a dual citizen, technically. I'm a Lebanese American.
That's getting a bad reputation because of people like him. And these people who are supposed...
And Aleja sends $5 and says, if Ethan is so worried about Hassan's rhetoric, why doesn't he take down the Leftovers episodes? Exactly. If it's that fucking dangerous, Ethan, if the Leftovers episodes are so dangerous and if Hassan's rhetoric is so dangerous, take him down. But he can't because it's good monetization, most likely. You know what I mean? He's liking that money. At this point, how much more money are they making if he just privatizes them? Like, they've made all the money they're going to make. He should just fucking take them down at this point. If he's serious about his convictions. Shai Lavi sends 19 shekels. What will need to happen to have peace again, or do you think it's not possible? The only way to have peace, Shai Lavi, is to give Palestinians the same rights everyone else has in Israel. Let them out of fucking Gaza. Let them live in the same neighborhoods you live in. Have the same rights. Live together. That's the only way. It is the only way.
Pro-Palestinian or are they this and that, and like it's a movement with a really good intention that's getting a bad reputation because of people like him. And these people who are supposedly pro-Palestinian they're quick to defend him, which not all of them, but a lot of them are, especially online leftists and Hassan and all these leftist Twitch freaks, because there's literally no reason to defend him or even rationalize, because it doesn't help anyone, right? It makes their movement look bad, and it promotes
defending who? The shooter? No one's defending the shooter, bro. Hassan said that like it might seem like a psyop because of how weird his interaction was with the cops, and it does sound kind of fucking weird. Like he right away like put the gun down, went up to the cops like it was me, then screamed "Free Palestine." Like it is like a Zionist perfect dream, wet dream of like a crime that they can use to maximize their propaganda, but like. You know?
Against random fucking Jewish walker buyers. You know what I mean?
Random Jewish walker. Again, he went to the Jewish, he went to the Israeli embassy, bro. It was a targeted attack at the Jewish embassy. It doesn't make it it doesn't make it right, but there's a clear difference between targeting something to make this was a political crime. This was a political attack, a political shooting. That's what it was. Okay, it wasn't random. The people he shot there were random. He just wanted to shoot someone from the Israeli embassy, but he wanted to send a message. That's what makes it a political killing, not a random racist or anti-Semitic attack. He's trying to send a message in his own way. It's really fucked up. It's not how he should have done it. You know what I mean? Like, for example, someone like, if he wanted to commit violence and if he really wanted to send a message, look what Aaron Bushnell did. I'm not telling people to go self-emulate, but Aaron Bushnell wanted to do something to catch people's attention, something undeniable, and he fucking lit himself on fire, bro, in Washington, D.C., in front of the White House to get people's attention. He didn't want to kill anyone else. He didn't want to do any of that. I'm not telling anyone to go fucking emulate, okay? But, you know what I mean? There are other ways to make loud statements. This is what this guy chose to fucking do, and it's insanely fucking wrong, but it's a targeted fucking attack. At the end of the day, it has nothing to do with being Jewish. And it's all fucking Israel's fault. At the end of the day, man, they're committing a genocide on the daily. Talk about that. It's fucking annoying. And he makes it about himself again.
I just channeled that from him. You know what I mean? And, you know, this is exactly what is the logical next step of where this type of dialogue has been moving. It is. Like what happened when Bad Empanada plays a game where
if he just wanted to kill random Jewish people, bro, like any fucking mass shooter, he'll go to like a fucking synagogue. If someone wanted to kill black people, they go to like an all-black church. There was a huge shooting a couple of years ago at like a Latino church, if I remember correctly. If he just wanted to kill random Jewish people, bro, he'd go to like a fucking synagogue and do that shit, which would be fucking insane and fucking horrible. But he wanted to send a political message. He wanted to send a message about Gaza in a horrible way, in a way that I would never ever fucking imagine doing, in a way I would never condone, in a way I would never encourage anyone to do. I wouldn't even encourage anyone to do what Aaron Bushnell did. That's horrible. But he was so fucking disturbed by what was happening, he was willing to go that far. But that's what this was at the end of the day. And to make it all about yourself and to make it all about Hassan on Twitch is making killers. Like, yeah, okay, Ethan Klein. It has nothing to do with the IDF. It has nothing to do with the genocide. This is all Hassan's work. Khalas, he's obsessed. It's an industry. Something happens, blame Hassan. Make 2 weeks worth of videos about it. Something happens, blame Hassan. Then pepper in a couple of iDubbbz videos. Blame Hassan, iDubbbz, blame Hassan, Anissa, blame iDubbbz, Anissa, blame iDubbbz, Mike from PA. Like, that's all he fucking does. That's all he gets. You know what I mean? Hope the Sam Hyde audience is loving H3 now, Ethan.
He hunts Hila in a video game and kills her, right? This is what happened when Noah Samson makes a video saying, protesting is not working. We know where they are. We know where the propagandists are. And we know, and we need to step it up. We know where they are, and we need to step it up. Protest isn't working, right?
Well, he doesn't mean fucking killing them, Ethan. He means putting pressure. If you know where someone lives, a politician, go surround their fucking house, intimidate them a little bit, man. You know what I mean? Like, fucking put pressure on these people. Find them where they live. Go protest outside of their house. Sit-ins in front of their homes. Put way more fucking pressure. You need to boycott the living fuck out of shit, man. Like, protesting is nice and it's fine and it's symbolic and it's nice footage to be shared on Twitter and Instagram. And look, you're not alone, and it gives a little bit, maybe a tinge of hope to the people in Palestine. Like, oh, look, we're not alone. But nothing fucking comes out of these fucking protests. Let's be real. Let's be real. That doesn't mean this is the solution, but people have to escalate a little bit. I don't know what that is, okay? But if protests aren't working, and if boycotts aren't working, and if saying free Palestine means you want to kill Jews now, what the fuck are people supposed to do? Nothing. That's what they want. That's what the US government wants to do. That's what Ethan Klein wants you to do. Let me just catch up with some of the super chats. Maria G, who's been a member for 3 months. Thank you so much, Maria, for being a member for 3 months. We love you so much. Is Ethan stalwart supporter of Palestine giving the same energy to the 9 children killed by the IOF airstrikes? Maria, I fucking wish. That's the problem. You see what I mean? Every single day, hundreds of people are being butchered in Palestine. Not a single care in the world. Not a single Instagram story. But 2 Israelis get killed in DC. 36 Instagram stories over a fucking weekend. Dizzle McFizzle sends $5 and says, here's some cheddar. Bill Burr voice, when you post in the P.O. box, you handsome so-and-so. I know, man, the P.O. box, right? I keep forgetting that fucking P.O. box. I need to do it this fucking week. Nour, please remind me to get the P.O. box this week. It's not Nour's, it's my fault, folks. Nour just, if she reminds me, I'll probably end up doing it. Love you so much, Dizzle. Thank you so much for the support. DOC Dismay sends another 5. What I'd actually like is for Ethan to grow and advocate for Palestine. He sees that as an impossible ask. Well, at this point, I don't think it's ever going to happen. Or he's going to advocate for Palestine in his own way by bringing on Ahmed, Fouad, AlKhatib, who's like a sneaky pro-Israel supporter and who wants a 2-state solution. I'm going to check out one of his websites. It's pretty fucking cringe. So, yeah, that's not going to work. That's as close to pro-Palestinian as you'll get. He'll get a pro-Israel Palestinian, a token, and that's what he'll do. Shai Lavi sends another 6 shekels. I mean, between Ethan and Hassan. Shai, there will never be peace between Ethan and... I think it's easier to solve the Israel-Palestine crisis than it is to solve the Ethan and Hassan crisis at this point, unfortunately. DOC Dismay, another 5. Thank you so much for the generosity today, D. It's another feature of his ego. He thinks he's important enough to be the subject of a manifesto. Everything has to be about him, of course. And FT Jan sends $5. By Ethan's logic, he is responsible for the continuing genocide by rationalizing covering for the IOF. Exactly. That's what he thinks at this point. And Ethan keeps fucking rationalizing it. And thank you so much, FT Jan, always in the chat. We love you so much. And thank you for donating. I think I saw you donating at the UNR UNRWA charity stream with Noah. We appreciate you.
This is what happens when, Hassan refers to Jews as inbred, or he refers to all Zionists as
he also
Nazis.
Yes.
Well, now
Nazis, yes. Oh, you got Ela supporting him. This completely ignoring the genocide, not even mentioning what's happening in Gaza. This is just Hassan's fault. This is what happens when Hassan refers to people as inbred. People go shooting Israelis in the street. Insane shit.
There's nothing you could do to a Nazi that would be out of pocket, right? Murder all Nazis, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how evil they are.
Right.
So when they say, oh, they're Nazis, this is giving
it's like,
permission.
Okay, so everything is on the table.
Everything's on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's insane to me. That's what from the beginning, which seemed obvious to me, that nobody wants to grapple with. Sam Cedar looked me in my fucking face and told me I'm causing anti-Semitism. You know what I mean? And like, what world are we living in?
You're not. Well, maybe. I mean, yeah, in a way, because you're conflating Zionism with Judaism. You're saying that most Jews are Zionists, and Zionists, to most people, support what Israel is doing in Gaza. They support the state of Israel. So you are making people associate Judaism with Zionism. So ultimately, you are putting Jews in more danger. You are actually causing the problem. You are the reason this guy fucking took a gun. Well, again, this guy killed Israeli people, but like if someone were to go kill a random Jewish person because he hates Israel, if someone were to go do that, that's a direct result of the kind of propaganda that you're putting out there. You keep conflating the two. You keep saying, well, 73% of all Jews support the state of Israel. So are you saying that 73%? Well, if some fucking idiot listens to you and fucking believes you, he's going to grab a gun and kill a fucking Jewish person. And in his mind, he thinks he's fucking freeing Palestinians. But that's what happens when you conflate the two. That's what fucking happens when you conflate the two.
Hassan has one of his Jewish tokens he keeps around, who he restored, who's like, I refuse to admit this was anti-Semitism.
Speaking of tokens, Ethan said Hassan has a token. I mean, I even hate mentioning tokens, but Ethan talks about tokens so much, he's making me use the fucking term. I find it disrespectful as fuck, but he has AB and Lena as token Arabs on the show. He's got Jardia as a token Ukrainian on the show. And now he's bringing on Ahmed Fouad AlKhatib as a token Palestinian, who is the one token Palestinian who's pro-Israel. Like, what the fuck? DOC Dismay says, Ethan called iDubbbz a Nazi, so by that logic, again, he's crazy. That's it. At this point, he's got nothing makes sense anymore. Nothing he says fucking makes sense. He's become so incoherent. I don't even fucking know where he stands anymore, bro. All I know is that he fucking hates Palestine.
Reaction to Israel's apartheid. It's like, bro, it happened outside of a Jewish museum. 2 random people were killed. What the fuck do you need to know? Like, what more do you?
Okay, bro, if the event was taking place outside of the Jewish museum, like that's where they planned the fucking event for the Israeli embassy. But it was an Israeli embassy event. It was the Israeli embassy, and he killed 2 Israeli embassy employees. Stop trying to make it random. Stop. It's not fucking random. It still doesn't make it any less fucking tragic and sad, but stop making it seem like it's this fucking random anti-Semitic shooting. That's not what it is.
This was anti-Semitism. This was a reaction to Israel's apartheid. It's like, bro, it happened outside of a Jewish museum. 2 random people were killed. What the fuck do you need to know? Like, what more do you need to know? Mm-hmm. It's so pathetic, bro. And this is what I knew from the very beginning. Like you said, when we first had that conversation with this guy laughing about a bunch of innocent kids being raped and murdered by a terrorist group, and Hassan sitting there and being like, I don't know enough to say.
And this was before Israel even reacted.
And this was before Israel ever even reacted. I'm glad that people are using the term Kermit the Frog now on subreddits and stuff. I will be happy to be. I'll take credit for that. Fuck it, I'll do it. It is exactly that. What do you mean, Ethan? It is Hassan. Every time Hassan talks about Israel, Palestine, he's creating 10 new shooters. 10 new dangerous shooters who are going to go outside of the Jewish center, okay? And they're going to gun down random Jews, okay? That's what he's doing. Ethan, and look, she's so happy, she's so pleased with herself. Oh, Ethan, I have a bandana today. I'm wearing an extra casual. I'm wearing an extra large shirt. We're going to have the large oversized to show that I'm casual, I'm chill, I'm one of the girlies. You know what I'm saying, Ethan? I'm one of the girlies. I got the bandana on. I got my LA lifestyle because I left the slums of Israel to come live in Los Angeles, live that influencer, genocidal lifestyle, okay? You can take the girl out of Tel Aviv, but you can't take Tel Aviv out of the girl. You know what I'm saying? Okay, this is. I'm losing the plot, folks.
That's it. That's the part too that you always have.
I want to hear her again, though. Sorry.
By terrorist group, and Hassan sitting there and being like, I don't know enough to say.
And this was before Israel even reacted.
That's it. That's the part too that you always have to consider. Is people say, oh, this is just because of what Israel's done. Mm-hmm. Then how do you explain October 8th? Mm-hmm. You know, how do you explain the middle of the night, October 7th, when Frogan's saying shit like, this is just revolution. This is what revolution looks like.
Because to Ethan, revolution looks like getting on your knees and begging for forgiveness. Please don't kill us. Oh, Mr. IDF man, Mr. Israeli, please don't kill me. Please just don't kill me. I just want to live. I'm a human just like you. That's resistance to Ethan Klein. Why can't you all be like Anne Frank? Huh? Why can't you be peaceful? Just beg for freedom. That'll work. Thomas Jerome Newton. Jordan Helason and Ethan D. Klein will shocked once the real anti-Semites show up. I know, man. Right now, they're having their fun with Hassan. Once the internet is taken over, once again, once everyone's banned, once we're all banned, and the internet is just Asmongold, Sam Hyde, fucking, I don't know, Tectone, whoever the fuck is I don't even know if these guys are anti-Semitic, all of them, but like, you know, then let him have a really good time. But these are all his friends at this point. Like, who are we kidding? That's his audience now. That's his fan base.
You know, this is the natural progression of the type of language.
And Thomas, thank you so much for the donation of 5,500 CLP. Thank you for supporting the channel. We love you so much.
That all of these people are using.
It's really dangerous language.
And by action,
sorry guys,
you know, this is the natural progression of the type of language that all of these people are using.
It's really dangerous language.
And by the way, this is one event that's happened.
It's really dangerous language. You know what's dangerous? Fucking bombs, bunker busters, guns, constant airstrikes, drone strikes, killing kids, chopping their legs off. Doesn't that fucking suck? How about that? But no, it's the dangerous language that Hassan is spreading on Twitch that is causing the shooter. Not the fact that this dude, the Elias Rodriguez, the shooter, was probably watching a fucking genocide on his phone all fucking day, lost his fucking mind, something in his head went like beep. After seeing maybe the 50th thousand video of a headless child being carried by his dad to a hospital, thinking he can still save him because they're still in fucking shock. When those dads are running to the hospital with like their kids in bags, screaming to the nurses and the doctors, please save him. They haven't even fucking realized what's happening. Like they know their kid's dead. His arm's in a bag. His arm's in a body bag. His head's in another separate bag. They're like, he's literally running around with bags like, please save my kid. Okay? What do you think is going through that person's fucking head? Lost my train of thought, but like, holy fuck, bro.
And honestly, it seems likely that more is going to be happening. And it really depends on how people react to it, because a lot of people are like, they love this.
Oh yeah, Ellen sends $2 and says, we got to watch BE's Bad Empanada's video about AlKhatib for context. We will. We're going to watch that before we get to the AlKhatib segment. DOC Dismay sends another 5. Ethan thinks the most moral thing for people being genocidal to do is to lay down and die, and perhaps keep a journal, especially children. Exactly. Just lay down and die. Be peaceful. If it doesn't work out, they'll shoot you in the head. Be thankful. Thank you so much again, DOC Dismay, for the generosity today. Thomas Jerome Newton, 5,500 CLP. Dangerous language is mischaracterizing anti-Semitism, as with Jeremy Corbyn. Exactly. That's the dangerous language. Ethan Klein is actually doing what he's accusing Hassan of doing.
Say manufacturing consent. How far does this go? You know, who's a valid target exactly? And do we trust these people who are out there murdering people to make a distinction between Zionists and Jews? Do you think that they're making that calculation as they pull up to a Jewish museum and just unload on a young couple who just walked out of the building? And then not only to unload, but to fucking walk up to them and execute them.
Well, people can make the difference if you educate them on the difference. When you spend your fucking time on your podcast 3 hours 4 times a week, 12 hours a week, conflating Zionism and Judaism, you're making it very hard for some people to make the fucking distinction. And it's people like Hassan, leftist commentators, the Majority Report, myself on a very small scale, who are trying to separate. There's Judaism and then there's Zionism. There's regular, good old Jews, and then there's fucking crazy, bloodthirsty fucking Zionists who, for the most part, aren't even Jewish. For the most part, most of them are fucking Christians in the fucking States, bro. That's the fucking difference.
Beg for their life, fight for their life. You know what I mean? What are we doing, guys? What are we doing?
I've seen Hassan also say, like, I think maybe it was in relation to when he was conflating what you said. You said the Jewish history in the Middle East, and he was like, what Israeli history in the Middle East? He was doing it on purpose. And then he goes on to say, Israel heritage is only apartheid, death and destruction, genocide. That's all they are. And that is so dangerous.
That's one half of it, right?
Saying that, to me,
he ain't
it's
wrong.
like, okay.
He ain't wrong, Ela Klein, okay? Israel was built on fucking genocide, the fucking Nakba, and then to maintain this fucking apartheid system for the past 76 years, It's been built on a fucking genocide, ethnic cleansing, slowly and slowly, getting rid of Palestinian land, taking over Palestinian land, kicking them out. Don't you guys want to go to Jordan? Don't you guys want to go to Egypt? Oh, don't you guys want to leave? Oh, a little push here, a little push there. Don't you guys want to go to Lebanon? A little push here, a little push there. What the fuck are we talking about, bro?
I need to watch my back everywhere I go because I'm Israeli.
Dude, Jewish people are afraid
that is
in this
so
country.
dangerous.
You are part of a genocidal fucking country who is proud of its fucking genocide, and you want to walk around as Israelis and not expect people to be upset? Unless you fucking renounce your fucking country and do something about it for it to fucking change, people are gonna fucking hate Israelis, bro. That's it. That's the way of the world. And people are waking up every single fucking day, but they hate Israelis. Stop conflating the two. It has nothing to do with Judaism, bro. Jewish people are some of the nicest people, some of the most lovely people, some of the smartest, most talented people in all sorts of fucking fields in the world. Just like Muslims are, just like fucking Christians are. Everybody from every religion is fucking great at everything. Who gives a fuck? Stop the fucking genocide, goddammit.
And it's funny for people who are not Jewish to laugh in my fucking face. Like when I made a message that was like, just so you guys know, that could have been me and Hila, or basically any other Jewish couple that you know that just happens to be there. And Hassan's response is, leave it to Ethan to make this all about himself. Like, and that's acceptable statement to make in the wake of a violent tragedy, a violent, hateful tragedy, right? To express that I don't feel safe. And by the way, I don't. Because the way that people talk about me and Hila being fucking terrorists, baby killers, propagandists, genociders, right? Everything bad that you could say.
Again, he is making it, he's criticizing Hassan for saying that he's making it about himself as he's making it about himself. I don't feel safe. Me and Hila aren't safe. The way people talk about us on the internet. Blah, blah, all that fucking bullshit. And look, what's fucked up is maybe some fucking psycho might actually want to fucking do something one day. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the fucked up part. You know what I mean? There might be some fucking insane motherfucker because Ethan keeps fucking conflating Zionism and Judaism, and he keeps saying that he's a Zionist. All Jews are Zionists. You might have some fucking freak, bro, actually want to fucking do something about it, but you're not helping the fucking case. You're not helping you're literally not fucking helping matters. You're making it worse, and you're building so many more fucking enemies every fucking day. Stop conflating the two. Stop conflating Judaism. Stop saying every chance you get that 73% of Jews love Israel. 70% of Jews want to go to Israel. I want to go to Israel and show you how fucking great it is, because you might fucking end up running into some fucking psycho, bro, who thinks that fucking doing something to you violent might fucking in some fucking dumbass way help the people in Gaza, bro. But stop with the fucking dangerous language. People like Hassan who actually communicate with Jewish people, who actually have them on a show and actually has them clarify where they fucking stand. Anti-Zionist Israelis who used to live in Israel who have now changed their ways. That's how you convert people. You're making things fucking worse, and to an audience of like fucking dumb drama slop fucking lovers like the fucking Sam Hyde audience, bro, and like the fucking Keemstar audience, that's who you're fucking feeding this fucking dumbass brain rot bullshit? What are they going to do with that information, man?
They say as far as if you tell from the people who talk about me, I'm as bad as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even like a little pro-Israel. I'm like it's like I strangling babies with my own bare hands if I could.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to the left. Like what happened to inclusion, to understanding different backgrounds and different cultures.
Bro, it's even
like
worse,
I did the
though.
army. You know how long ago it is now? It's almost 20 years ago that I did the army.
Yeah, because you were a kid.
I was
You're an
18
adult.
and
You're
I'm
grown up
going to
now.
turn 38.
You're going to turn 38. Well, did you ever talk about your time in the army? Did you ever apologize for your time in the army? Did you ever say that that some of the things you did in the army were kind of fucked up? Did you ever talk about the raid in Ramallah and how that was fucking bad? Did you ever look at it with a little bit of remorse? No, you still say you're proud of your fucking time in the IDF. You say your brother should be proud of his time in the IDF. You love the IDF. You deny IDF atrocities on the daily. So it doesn't matter that you did it 20 years ago. You've never owned up to it. Look at how fucking smug she is. That's the fucking thing, too. She's so happy. Look at her, man. Fucking smug. Fucking these people, man, are out there. They're fucking... They have prisoners. They've made Palestinians prisoners in their own fucking country while they fucking walk around free and happy in the fucking States and in Palestine. They walk around their land. They can travel. They have passports. She can do whatever the fuck she wants. She started a clothing company. She's hosting a fucking podcast with her husband. While Palestinians in Gaza can't fucking leave. They can't leave Gaza. If they even want to leave Gaza to go into Israel to do like a little minor job, they need to go through so many fucking checkpoints and hoops and work permits and shit. They're fucking prisoners in an open air prison. And she's out here complaining, living the fucking life. She's living the fucking life, bro. Stop talking as if you have any understanding of what these people are fucking going through. DOC Dismay sends another $5. I don't believe Ethan is brave, so if he actually felt unsafe, he'd have stopped talking about this. Honestly, I do believe him when he says he feels unsafe, but he already doesn't leave his house, so he already, I think, is kind of agoraphobic. But I mean,
this year.
Yeah.
That was 20 years ago.
Of course. And so, like, of course I don't feel safe because of what you people are saying about me. Because of everything you guys are saying. And if somebody's convinced enough to go outside of this and kill 2 random people, why the fuck shouldn't somebody feel comfortable coming to my...
But again, he keeps saying 2 random people. He keeps saying 2 random people. It's not 2 random people. As fucked as it was, it's not 2 random people. They work at the Israeli embassy. He was trying to send a political message. It's fucked. It's violent. It doesn't help. But it wasn't random.
House and killing me and my fucking family. Am I crazy? Are you actually going to look me in the face and say I'm crazy for being afraid of that happening? Who would look me in the face and say that's not something I should worry about? You think
it's not, dude, you're a fucking millionaire living in LA, bro. No one's out there trying to fucking hurt Jewish people or rich Jewish people who live in gated communities. Marmar sends £5. Even showing remorse doesn't entitle you to forgiveness, but it is the bare minimum to take responsibility and show remorse and empathy. Absolutely. And Ethan does none of that to the Palestinians. And he wants us all to show remorse and empathy to Israelis. Why don't we feel for the Israelis? Oh, you want us to feel bad for the oppressors as they're committing a genocide? Great fucking idea, boss.
Guy coming up to my house and killing me and Hila, he would feel any different? Do you think that the reaction online would be any different?
No, I know what the reaction will look like.
Donald W says the crew is so quiet. What an awful show. Again, the vibes. Or I was thinking last time, like, if I'd watched an episode of H3 for the first time now in its current era, I would never fucking watch that show again. It's so fucking bitter and dark and boring, and the crew sitting there fucking quietly, and like the sound bites that Zach plays are all fucked up, and it's all about anti-Semitism and trying to make people sound like they're anti-Semitic and like Jewish, and like sound bites of people saying the word Jew or Jewish. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is this podcast? Back in the day, fucking 5-6 years ago, watch any of those episodes. You're having a fucking good time. It's chill. You're laughing along, having a good time. Now, if I were to watch that fucking show, bro, I wouldn't even know how to describe it. Like, what the fuck am I looking at? Is this like the fucking Hasbara show? Mamba fun.
So what are we working towards here? What exactly is the goal here?
That's the problem.
What is the goal of this movement exactly? Not the Free Palestine movement, which has a noble goal, but this online leftist, fucking violent, obsessed. And you look at the behavior.
To Free Palestine, bro. What the fuck? And, bro, Ethan is more concerned. Like, to Ethan, the Free Palestine movement is a few people on Twitter that hate him and, like, Redditors. You know what I mean? Like, his algorithm just feeds him all the people that hate him, and that's what he thinks in his mind. Those are pro-Palestinian supporters, bro. Like, my mom is a pro-Palestine supporter. My dad, fucking 70-year-olds who've never used Twitter in their fucking life. Stop it with, like, these fucking 12 accounts that are bullying you on Twitter, and you can't get over them, so you're fucking spending your time shitting on Palestine for the past 2 fucking years and justifying a genocide because a couple of fucking random people online are upset at you. Mother that, bro.
You look at the history of leftists calling for violence, which I showed in the content nuke. They do it openly on Twitch and without being punished. Mike from PA literally said, the only way to get to me is to give me till I'm bleeding from my mouth.
Right.
He said that on Twitch and he wasn't punished.
Punishment.
He was not punished. This fucking...
And what happens every time they're not punished?
He wasn't punished. He just wants people to get punished. He wasn't punished. This fucking, you need to punish. You need to fire them, ban them, fire them. All of that shit. He's just fucking obsessed, bro. He's obsessed. And again, that's not what Mike from PA, he was talking about the carrot and the stick, bro. He wasn't saying go fucking smack AB or whoever the fuck in the mouth. Like, also, like, this fucking stupidity. Always victim. Oh, they want to hit me. They want to hurt me. Someone wants to hurt me. The one guy who actually, like, harassed Ethan and who actually walked up to him and Hila and harassed him in the street, Ethan, like, dating and money, whoever the fuck that dumbass fucking is, he promoted him on his Instagram like a week ago. He was like, I was wrong about this guy because he hates Hassan now. Just because the guy hates Hassan now, Ethan is cool with him. Even though that was the one time he actually got harassed in the street by a fucking dumbass fucking freak, you know what I mean, who does conflate Judaism and Zionism because he is an anti-Semite. You know what I mean? And he fucking reposts that guy on his fucking stories. Like a week ago. Like, lol, I was wrong about that guy. Go give him a chance because he hates Hassan. What the fuck? Like, Ethan is such a fucking hypocrite. He's such a hypocrite.
He doubled down.
And then guess what Mike said when these guys got killed? He says it was a psyop.
Yeah.
No, dude.
Just can't
It's
make this
because
shit
of the
up.
shit you're saying.
I have never seen.
So the guys got killed again because of what Mike from PA said about the carrot and the stick. Some guy, Elias Rodriguez, grabbed a gun and decided to go kill 2 Israeli embassy employees because of a couple of Twitch streamers. All right, cool, Ethan, cool.
Hassan apologize for anything. I've never seen him apologize for anything or take anything back or say, you know what, that was too far.
Never. Honestly,
That's
I can't find
irresponsible.
a single time he's done that.
Because he never gets punished, so he just doubles down, triples down, quadruples down.
Same with all of his, and his orbiters who have something to prove are even worse. Like Mike literally said, Ethan will never learn until he's bleeding from his mouth.
Yeah.
And there was no punishment for that. And then a week later, 2 random Jewish passerbyers outside the Jewish museum are murdered in cold blood. And his reaction is, it's a psyop.
I can't believe people are calling it that. I see false flag too. That's
Hassan suggested it too. I've got it all here. By the way, some ordinary gamer, Mudahar.
They're just fucking around, bro. He was just giving dude, people were saying it's a false flag, and Hassan was explaining why it's not. He was like, if people are saying that it sounds like a false flag, here's why they might be thinking that, but I absolutely don't think that that's what it is. He very clearly said that. You know what I mean? But again, they're not gonna try to represent what Hassan said in a fair and accurate way. Why would they do that?
Said, I found that statement dumb. What you were saying was similar to if a Muslim had said they feel unsafe after the Christchurch shooting. Who the fuck would tell them, stop trying to be a victim?
Well, you know what? Sometimes.
Thank you, Mudahar, for the comment.
Thank you. Sometimes old.
Made it. Thank you, Mudahar.
What did Mudahar say? Let me hear that. Good old Mudahar with his wisdom.
False flag too. That's
Hassan suggested it too. I've got it all here. By the way, some ordinary gamer, Mudahar, said, I found that statement dumb. What you were saying was similar to if a Muslim had said they feel unsafe after the Christchurch shooting. Who the fuck would tell them, stop trying to be a victim?
Well, you know what? Sometimes.
Thank you.
Again, conflating anti-Semitism with anti-Zionism. These people weren't killed because they were Jewish. They were killed because they were Zionists. And they support Israel. And they support the apartheid state. And I don't care that that event was called peace, whatever the fuck. It was just a bunch of fucking platitudes and bullshit. The guy denies that there was even a famine in Gaza. So, I mean, fuck him. Doesn't deserve to be fucking executed in the fucking street. But he sounds like a shitty fucking person. Sounds like an asshole.
Mudahar for the comment.
Thank you. Sometimes old.
Made it. Thank you, Mudahar.
Older Jewish Israeli people, they'll say Jews are not allowed to cry, which that's what this is about. They don't. You're not allowed to say your problems, talk about your problems.
Jews aren't allowed to cry? Who the fuck said that? All you two do is bitch all the time. And I mean, you two, Ethan and Hila, all you're doing is fucking complaining. Your podcast is just fucking complaining and crying. So clearly that's not fucking true. You've made a career out of bitching and crying and fucking complaining on your podcast. So that is not fucking true.
People don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I see this.
It's where this statement comes from.
There's this Goebbels Nazi propaganda line that I start to see all the time. That's like the Jew hits you and cries out in pain. Like that's,
So it's like when you're talking about
that's
it.
Nazi shit.
What a way.
The Jew hits you and cries out in pain. No, but the Israeli does. That sounds like something an Israeli would do. That is exactly what an Israeli would do. He hits you and cries out in pain. Not a Jewish person. I don't know what a fucking Jewish person would do in that case. Sorry, I said fucking Jewish person in that situation. That was the wrong use of the word. I meant like a fucking whatever. You know what I mean? That sounded bad. And if I get called out for it, that was bad. But that is not the right analogy, bro.
To make it about yourself, or like they're always.
That's
have
Nazi
something.
shit.
Yeah.
He's doing that fucking. He's doing.
That's true, man. That's what a fucking Zionist does. An Israeli hits you and fucking complains. Israel is currently bombing Lebanon, Palestine, Yemen. Are they still bombing Syria? They're bombing Syria. 4 countries. Yet they're the fucking victim. They're the fucking victim and they're bombing 4 countries. So that analogy, just replace Jew with Israeli and you're right. You're good to go.
That the Jew hits you and cries out.
Jews are not allowed to cry. So
Like
that statement
the
is.
blatant, violent anti-Semitism that is oozing off these people. If you can't see it, then we're basically just going, I mean, where are we going?
It feels like where it was during the war and the Holocaust. It's reminiscent of that time.
Holocaust. Oh, thank you, Zach. Thank you, Zach, for that brilliant addition. This feels like Holocaust times. Oh, really, Zach? It feels like for who? For the fucking Palestinians in Gaza. It's a fucking literal Holocaust of fucking Palestinians. Oh my God, bro, I can't. These fucking people living in fucking Los Angeles. قاعد عامل لي حالك Holocaust. قاير بشكلك يا حمار. Look, شو عم تحكي يا What are you talking about? This feels like the fucking Holocaust. There is a literal Holocaust of children in Gaza. Yet this fucking guy is talking about a Holocaust of Jews in fucking California. What?
Basically just going, where are we going?
It feels like where it was during the war and the Holocaust. It's reminiscent of that time.
It's crazy.
Oh my God, bro. The H3 fucking podcast. We're literally apparently living in Nazi times. Not because of Elon Musk. Not because of actual anti-Semites that are in power. You know what I mean? Because of Hassan Piker. And because of Mike from PA. And Sean the Black. Yeah, COC this way. Zach implying he was alive for World War II is wild. Yeah, Zach, how do you know? How do you know? I mean, again, if you watch any documentaries, any movie, you know it was pretty fucking bad. But like, how could you even make that fucking comparison when Israel is committing a literal fucking genocide and Holocaust right fucking now, and you make it about yourselves, bro? Stop playing the victims. Oh my God, everyone on the H3 podcast is such a fucking victim.
See, because you can see how it happened. I've always said, like,
what did she fucking say?
It's crazy to see. Because you can see how it happened. I've always said, like, I have no idea how the Holocaust could happen. It just makes no sense. And now I see it. I see how it happened.
It's not that they're...
Bro, oh my God, bro. They're talking about the Holocaust. I can see how the Holocaust happened while they're literally Holocausting fucking Palestinians, bro. This is driving me fucking crazy. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? Your people are fucking killing Palestinians right now by the hundreds every fucking day, man. Bro, Piers fucking Morgan is fucking calling it a genocide now, bro. That's it. Everybody knows what's going on. You're talking about the Holocaust? You're the victims now? Bro, this reminds me. Oh, I feel like the Holocaust all over again. They're asking me to wear a star on my arm so they know that I'm a Jew. Bro, what the fuck? IDF soldiers are branding Stars of David on Palestinians right now in Gaza, bro. Miss Rachel is dancing with legless children on her show.
Like so much wanton violence against Jews happening, although there is an insane rise in hate crime against Jews in America and around the world. It's the consent, it's the ease, it's the comfortability that people have with violence against dehumanizing language being platformed to mainstream.
Bro, you literally called me a fucking rat on your show. The ease of violence against Jewish people. October 7th happened 2 years ago. We haven't heard the end of it. 1 billion October 7th have happened in Palestine since then, bro. Who gives a fuck? If an Arab dies, no one gives a shit, bro. My people, my blood is worthless to the rest of the world. No one gives a fuck about us. Thousands of us get killed in a fucking week, bro. Bunker busters get dropped. Buildings fucking collapse as a whole. Entire families are wiped off the fucking registry. No one bats a fucking eye. Now they're talking about ethnically cleansing Gaza and getting everyone out of there and fucking starving them to death. And it's about them. That's why people stopped watching. That's why I couldn't fucking stand your fucking podcast, bro. That's why I had to fucking stop watching and try to fucking counter every fucking dumbass fucking thing you say, man. What is this? What is this? Self-victimization non-fucking stop. Thomas Jerome Newton sends another 5,500 CLP. Zach is an immortal vampire confirmed. There we go. We got our confirmation. He was around in World War II. And he did nothing to stop it. Dan from New York sends $2. Thank you, Dan. Says coddling of EK needs to stop. Content cop included. Yeah, the content cop wasn't hard enough, man. Content cop didn't go hard enough. But maybe the next one. Maybe the next one, if there is a next one. I don't know. But IDUB said he was working on some kind of a video in his Noah Samson interview, so let's see if it's an Ethan one.
And being platformed by New York Times,
yeah, exactly.
by the CEO of Twitch saying this is his favorite creator.
Yeah, seeing it on all levels.
The people are comfortable with the idea, and as people get more comfortable, guess what's going to happen? Watch this.
You stupid. What is currently happening right now, man? Again, they're talking about as people get more comfortable with killing Jewish people. It's like, no, bro. People have gotten comfortable with killing Arabs. It's gotten normal, bro. You were desensitized to that shit. Arabs have been getting killed on American television and on the internet for fucking years. The Iraq War, the Afghan War. I mean, whatever kind of war you want. Yemen, bro. Who you want to bomb now? Syria. Let's go fucking kill some Iraqis. Let's go fucking, like, whatever the fuck are we, what are we doing here, bro? No one gives a fuck. We got 200,000 Palestinian dead. You got kids. You got Miss Rachel calling to stop killing kids. Now people fucking hate Miss Rachel because she wants you to stop fucking killing kids. What is this? What is going on, bro? And now it's all about them. And then they wonder, why doesn't that lady want Teddy Fresh? Why doesn't she want to be associated with Teddy Fresh? And then Ethan fucking shits on her on social media. Yeah, good luck. That's going to get more influencers to want to work with you and Teddy Fresh. Good going, Ethan and Hila. Shit on people who don't want Teddy Fresh. Do it publicly. That way, all the influencers are going to want to work with Teddy Fresh. That'll do it. That'll save your struggling brand.
By the way, Hassan just erased his entire Discord.
Yeah, I saw people say that that's something they do kind of regularly.
He's done it a few times, but now is a pretty funny time.
Why?
He let's see. He tells his chat who.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, he tells his chat, by the way, who when he's reading the shooter's manifesto, he put his chat in emoji.
I don't want to watch any more Hassan stuff. Let's watch the interview.
And even then,
we're going to move to the interview
they were able to
with Ahmed, Fouad, AlKhatib. But before we do that, let's get a little bit of context about this guy by watching a Bad Empanada video. And now he did two videos. He did a quick 4-minute and 48-second video and then a longer 20-minute video. I think let's just watch a 26-minute video. Let's watch the 4-minute one, get a bit of an idea. I have a couple of links open to this guy's websites. Let's see what he's about. And we will then move on to Ethan's interview with him just so that we have all the context we need. Thank you to friend of the show, Bad Empanada, Based Empanada, the best Empanada, for putting together this research. Everything he does is very thorough, so let's check it out.
A lot. They are scamming people into donating for Palestine, except it's not actually donations for Palestine.
Sorry.
So this might be the worst thing that I've seen the H3 podcast do so far, and that's obviously saying a lot. They are scamming people into donating for Palestine, except it's not actually donations for Palestine. It's not donating to like a charity like the UNRWA or the PCRF or something like that. No, it's donations for Palestine that they are soliciting, which go to a pro-Israel propaganda organization. So in that podcast episode from today, Ethan Klein had a talk with Ahmed Fouad AlKhatib, who is like this pro-Israel Palestinian who says, you know, Palestinians are at fault for all of their own misery. Israel does nothing wrong. And he works for the Atlantic Council propaganda organization. He's basically like the one guy who these Israelis prop up as their like token, look, a Palestinian who agrees with us sort of guy. So he always does the rounds. It seems like they can't find any other. But this video isn't about that. I'll probably be covering that on my stream this week. This video is about something that's even worse than that, if you can believe it. There's a part of this stream, timestamped and called Donate to Palestine, in which Ahmed solicits donations for a project of the Atlantic Council, which is explicitly actually pro-Israel. And Ethan Klein is calling it...
Ellen is saying the 26-minute video is not all about him, so is it a better one to watch than this one?
Donate to Palestine. And Ahmed himself also tried to imply this was donations for Palestine, rather than...
If it's a better one.
To spread pro-Israel talk for the Atlantic stream.
Items actually will.
So running them out. And Ethan Klein, who previously said, you know, he would never use a Palestinian as a token. He'd never do that. Literally a month ago, he said that, by the way.
Like, I'm going to be like, hey, you need to, you know, I have a whole group of Palestinian friends who...
Anyone asking for the kitty cam, let me just give you guys a quick look at little Maki right there. He's taking a little nappy. He's taking a little nap. Oh, some little kitty cam. All right, back to the show, folks. We got a show to run. I know the kitty's cute. Okay.
Pro-Israel. By the way, there's a lot of them. They exist.
There's a lot of them. There's so many of them that he had to find the one guy who's constantly trotted out by Zionists, like the one fucking guy they all know and love. They always bring the exact same guy on.
Imagine me telling this is exactly analogous. Me
It's
going
exactly
to Hassan
analogous.
or Ian, I need you to go talk to my Palestinian friend who's pro-Israeli. Like you'll listen to him. Do you see the problem?
Lars sends $5 and asks, question, Hassan is locked up for speech. How does Ethan react? How does crew react? And could Ethan's reaction, would that be final straw for crew? Actually locked up, if he's locked up in jail, I think Ethan would say, there was a time where Ethan would say, they're overreacting, but now Ethan would kind of be happy since they think that Hassan is directly responsible for the murder of those 2 people in DC. He thinks that Twitch streamers are responsible for the murder of people. So Ethan could be pretty happy with Hassan being in jail at this point. And the crew would not. The crew had a million opportunities to leave. They're never going to leave, Lars. We should give up on the crew at this point. You know what I'm saying?
And also, it's just tokenizing.
Okay, sorry. Let's start from here. The whole fucking
So
video.
Ethan Klein held a stream with like the one Palestinian token who is being used lately by Zionists to sort of say, hey, look, we have a Palestinian who agrees with us. And you can tell that they keep reusing the exact same guy. There's like 5 to 10 of these guys total. By how much difficulty these people have finding a token who will say what they want to say. They all get the same guy, Ahmed, Fouad, AlKhatib. Like it's the same guy I made a video about back in November last year. They just keep reusing these guys. They just keep reusing the same guy. They keep trotting them out. And Ethan Klein, who previously said, he would never use a Palestinian as a token. He'd never do that. Literally a month ago, he said that, by the way.
Like, I'm going to be like, hey, you need to, I have a whole group of Palestinian friends who are pro-Israel. By the way, there's a lot of them. They exist.
There's a lot of
pro-Palestine friends who love Israel, I'm sure.
There's so many of them that he had to find the one guy who's constantly trotted out by Zionists, like the one fucking guy they all know and love.
I know so many Arabs that love Israel, don't you? I mean, I know a bunch of Lebanese extreme right Christians that like Israel, that's true, but like Palestinians, fuck, man, you ain't gonna find that. And you're not gonna find a lot of Shiites that have actually had to fight and were bombed by Israel, fuck with Israel. The Lebanese Christians worked with the IDF back in the 80s, so they don't give a fuck, and they also hate Muslims, a lot of them. So
the exact same guy on.
Imagine me telling this is exactly analogous. Me going
exactly
to Hassan
analogous.
or Ian, I need you to go talk to my Palestinian friend who's pro-Israeli. Like you'll listen to him. Do you see the problem? And also, it's just tokenizing minorities, which is just like, it made me uncomfortable, and it's not something I would ever do. I would never be like, yo, you need to go talk to the Palestinian pro-Israelis because you'll listen to them. Like, I would never do that. That feels dirty. That feels insane.
He's been doing it with this guy for fucking months, and now he invites him onto his stream.
Items actually will.
So Ahmed Fouad AlKhatib works for the Atlantic Council. He is paid by the Atlantic Council to spread pro-Israel talking points and preface them with, as a Palestinian. You can see him listed on the website of the Atlantic Council here, resident senior fellow of the Atlantic Council. Great. So what is the Atlantic Council? Well, it is a Pentagon and US government-funded think tank that is also heavily funded by the American arms industry. Don't take my word for that, I'll show you. The Atlantic Council is the #1 think tank recipient of funding from Pentagon contractors, receiving $10 million in the period from 2019 to 2023. The Atlantic Council came in 4th on the list of think tanks that receive the most funding.
There's the evidence we need. Like Bad Panada breaking it down. I did open that website that he was talking about. Right over here, Ahmed AlKhatib, resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. And there's a little bio. Ahmed Fouad AlKhatib leads Realign for Palestine, an Atlantic Council project that challenges entrenched narratives in the Israel-Palestine discourse and develops a new policy framework for rejuvenated pro-Palestine advocacy. Realign for Palestine aims to cultivate a new generation of Palestinian voices committed to a two-nation solution, nonviolence, and radical pragmatism. AlKhatib serves as a resident senior fellow with the Atlantic Council's Middle East programs, where he writes extensively on Gaza's political and humanitarian affairs, is an outspoken critic of Hamas, and promotes a radically pragmatic approach to peace and Palestinian statehood as the only path forward between Palestinians and Israelis. And they link to, he leads the Realign for Palestine project. So if you click that link, this is fucking crazy. It says, end the violence, start the future. Tens of thousands dead, zero to show for it. Time to realign for Palestine is now. What does he even mean by that? So if you click on what we stand for, the Realign for Palestine project at the Atlantic Council aims to amplify pragmatic and rational voices that courageously hold multiple truths, advocating for Palestinian statehood and self-determination, that two-nation solution is the only credible, humane path forward for peace between the Palestinian and Israeli people. Radical pragmatism calls for more violence must be rejected. Violence only fosters fear, resentment, and retribution. It's time to reject maximalist language and for balanced perspectives to be heard. So what do you want to do? You want to beg the Israelis to not kill you? Because that's not been working. You've tried that before. Realign for mutual destruction to 2 states for 2 people. October 7th proved the futility of violent armed resistance as a pathway to peace, with innocent civilians paying the highest price. An intertwined shared future that recognizes each other's humanity and differences while allowing Palestinians to flourish in prosperity alongside a safe and secure Israel is the only way forward. Realign from black and white narratives to multiple truths. Like, how about there? It's pretty, I don't know, man. Genocide is pretty black and white to me. Don't you think? What's happening in Gaza? It's pretty black and white. It seems pretty bad to me. Multiple things can be true at the same time. Palestinians and Israelis each have legitimate grievances, valid histories, rights, and aspirations. Oh, Israelis have legitimate grievances, valid histories, rights, and aspirations. What? Rights to the land? What? Because of the fucking Bible, bro? Because of the Torah? What are you talking about? Realign from hateful words to helpful actions. We need to ditch slogans like from the river to the sea and globalize the... Okay, so again, hateful words. From the river to the sea is considered a hateful word. This man is supposed to be a pro-Palestinian, by the way. He considers from the river to the sea hateful words, folks. This man could not be more perfect for the Pentagon, could not be more perfect for Ethan Klein, because incidentally, Ethan Klein completely agrees with that topic, with that sentiment. We need to ditch slogans like from the river to the sea and globalize the intifada. Globalize the intifada, not a great line, I agree. Threatening language is dangerous and keeps people apart, and with it, opportunities for peace. This is fucking ridiculous, bro. I hurt my hand today. Okay, anyways, this is kind of boring, but that's what this guy fucking stands for. Let's keep watching our boy.
From the US government, with $8 million from 2019 to 2023. Notable donors to the Atlantic Council include the Charles Koch Foundation, Amazon, and Verizon. Other notable donors include the Lockheed Martin Corporation, Raytheon Technologies. So the Atlantic Council is just a US...
Haley D, our queen, our beloved queen, sends $2 and says thank you for the Paulate cleanser. Oh, here you go. A little bit more Paulate cleanser for you guys. 5 extra seconds of Little Maki. Little Maki chilling right there. Not that doesn't like the blankie as much as Maki does. That's why she's not here.
US government propaganda cutout. It is essentially an arm of the US government that is made to look like an independent organization that is in its majority funded by the US government and the Pentagon and weapons contractors, along with American government allies like the United Arab Emirates. So this is an organization, to be clear, that is just an arm of the American government in everything but name, in everything but official, like on paper record. That is who Ahmed Fouad AlKhatib is employed by. And that is who Ethan Klein chooses to feature on his podcast. Ethan Klein's like, you know what? They keep saying I'm not pro-Palestine. I never do anything pro-Palestine. I never do fundraisers for Palestine. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to invite a token Palestinian who is an employee of a fucking US government-funded think tank, of a Pentagon-funded think tank, of a weapons contractor-funded think tank. You know, all those people currently doing genocide in Gaza, all of them pro-Israel. I'm going to bring him on to show that I'm actually pro-Palestinian. I'm going to bring this guy on who is just a straight-up Zionist, and I'm going to tokenize him, as I have denounced others for supposedly doing in the past with Israelis and Jews. Now, it's actually even worse than that, because in this H3 podcast episode, Ethan actually solicits donations to Ahmed Fouad AlKhatib's Atlantic Council, and he calls it Donate to Palestine. So he tries to fool people into believing that you are donating to Palestine by donating to this
is actually okay, we don't need to watch this because we're going to watch the actual video. We're going to watch the actual interview, but I did like write his name on YouTube, and this guy's been doing this for a while. He's been doing this propaganda. Like he has an interview with Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks from a month ago, losing 33, and now he's gonna lose. Like, I mean, look, it's obviously horrible. He's lost 33 family members. Like I don't know the pain that this man feels. He is an actual Palestinian who's going through some shit, so he has every right to believe whatever the fuck he wants to believe. If he wants to believe that he wants to make peace with Israel and he wants a 2-state solution, who the fuck am I to fucking disagree with him? Okay, at the end of the day, other Palestinians should do that, but he's gonna use that now to try to make pro-Israeli propaganda. Losing 33 family members. Ahmed Fouad AlKhatib on leading Realign for Palestine. He did like an hour and 42-minute like podcast here with Trigger Monetary or whatever it's called. He's done a bunch of podcasts. He's done a bunch of interviews. Like there's like hours of this guy online probably talking about this stuff. But let's just listen to him talk about it to Ethan Klein, Farid Marra, and yeah.
Really interesting guest. Let's bring him on. His name is, once again, Ahmed Fouad AlKhatib, And
Good job, Ethan. Ahmed, Fouad, AlKhatib. This is, again, pro-Palestine supporter Ethan Klein, who lived 5 years in Israel, folks, and worked alongside Palestinians, according to him. He's the one who struggles to say Muslim. He doesn't even know how to say Muslim. He keeps saying Islamist. Isn't that an Islamist, man? Ahmed, Fouad, AlKhatib. You spent 5 years in Israel working alongside Arabs, Ethan. You worked alongside Palestinians. Wallah. Rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
I'll have him tell you about his background. But he's a peace activist, a Palestinian peace activist. Someone who I've been following for a while with great admiration. Because he's
tweeted about this guy before, like on Instagram stories. He has mentioned him before. I'm kind of hungry. I'm kind of thinking of grabbing some lentils, folks. I have some jadra. It's like mushed lentils together, and I have a fattoush salad on the side. I might need to bring some food, folks. I'm hungry. Let me play this for you guys so that it's not boring. I'll be just a couple of minutes. Actually, oh, wait. How long is this interview? 2:27. Oh, no, I'm going to get some food. It's long.
kind of like me, all this guy does. There he is. I'll let him speak for himself. Hello, Ahmed. How are you? Thanks for calling.
Yes, of course. Thanks for having me on.
Hello.
I'm very grateful for the perspective that you've brought to this from the very beginning, because I think I'm like you. I'm someone who's in favor of peace, who's in favor of Palestinian liberation, who hates Hamas, right? But also doesn't think that it's a good idea to erase it. You know, the genocidal language that they deploy, that the co-signing the violence that you're saying now, and it's like anyone who's isn't black and white just gets absolutely, annihilated in the court of public opinion these days. Has that been your experience?
Absolutely, man. As someone from Gaza, someone who's lost family members, someone who has actual war injuries from having grown up in the Gaza Strip, the fact that I'm able to, and people talk about nuance, but no one actually walks the talk. No one actually understands what nuance means. No one wants to hold multiple truths. No one wants to talk about the fact that you can be pro the Palestinian people's just and urgent aspirations, while also rejecting an Islamist death cult that has been a complete disaster for the Palestinian people, far more than it has been a deadly menace for the Israelis. Yes, of course, it has been for Israelis in the 1990s during the Oslo process, in the 2000s with the Second Intifada, certainly with the rockets when they took over, and then October 7th.
Sorry. I just heard him talk about nuance. Is there nuance to genocide, bro? Is that what's happening? Is there nuance? This guy, who's 35? There's no way this man is 35. Who said 35? Okay, I'm going to start this again. Sorry, folks. I was getting my food. I can't wait to hear about the nuance, though, about the genocide. Please tell me how a genocide is nuanced.
I'm someone who's in favor of peace, who's in favor of Palestinian liberation, who hates Hamas, right? But also doesn't think that it's a good idea to erase it. The genocidal language that they deploy, that the co-signing the violence that you're saying now, and it's like anyone who's isn't black and white just gets absolutely annihilated in the court of public opinion these days. Has that been your experience?
Absolutely, man. As someone from Gaza, someone who's lost family members, someone who has actual war injuries from having grown up in the Gaza Strip, the fact that I'm able to, and people talk about nuance, but no one actually walks the talk. No one actually understands what nuance means. No one wants to hold multiple truths. No one wants to talk about the fact that you can be pro the Palestinian people's just and urgent aspirations, while also rejecting an Islamist death cult that has been a complete disaster for the Palestinians.
So he's calling Hamas an Islamist death cult. Hamas, who is a legitimate resistance, okay? I was watching Avatar 2 again a couple of days ago. My girlfriend hadn't seen it, and I was like, do you want to watch Avatar 2? And again, I'm looking at the Na'vi fighting, the humans, and Americans watching that movie have no problem understanding that the Na'vi, the blue aliens with the bows and arrows, are the good guys. They're the resistance. They're the scruffy rebels. You watch Star Wars, you have no problem understanding that Luke Skywalker and Harrison Ford, you know what I mean? Good old Han Solo, they're the rebels. Scruffy, makeshift little weapons, fighting the big bad evil empire that has all the money, all the funding, all the tech. You watch Dune, you watch the rebels fighting the whoever the fuck they are. No problem understanding it. But when it comes to Palestinians, oh my God, it is impossible. It is impossible. They're an Islamic death cult, apparently. Cool.
People far more then it has been a deadly menace.
And by the way, if this man is 35, I'm 34. Okay? I'm 34.
For the Israelis. Yes, of course, it has been for Israelis in the 1990s during the Oslo process, in the 2000s with the Second Intifada, certainly with the rockets when they took over, and then October 7th. But I would argue that Hamas has been a far more menacing threat to the very existence and welfare of the Palestinian people. And trying to hold those multiple truths immediately erases my heritage, my pride of my Palestinian background. I'm a spy, I'm a Zionist, I'm a traitor, I'm a sellout.
One sec, folks. I think I stained my t-shirt. Be right back. Let me play this for a second.
I'm a bootlicker, I'm all of those things. And I've appreciated the fact that you, among other allies across both the Jewish community and non-Jewish community, have really been seeking to bolster those of us who are trying our best to be pragmatic, be moderates, be reasonable, be about our people's rights without promoting terrorism, which is very sexy nowadays among some in the circles, which is despicable.
One thing that after October 7th that really shook me, was completely unexpected, was the outward support for Hamas, like immediately after. Because like I always had this understanding, like, oh, everybody knows they're like evil and they're bad guys and they're terrorists, right? But then after October 7th, I had my co-host Hassan Piker. I came on here to be like, dude, isn't this crazy? And he's unable to say a bad thing about them. The audience is it seems to be in full support of Hamas, and I didn't even consider that a possibility. I was like,
fuck, guys, sorry, my bad. Got olive oil dressing on my fucking t-shirt, so that's fucked. Brand new t-shirt too, first time I ever wear it. FT Jan sends $5 and says he's lost family members. Well, they must have been Hamas, otherwise why would Israel kill them? Exactly. His family members are terrorists because everything else that they're doing is seemingly justified, right? Overzealots says appreciate what you do, sends 70 Canadian dollars. Thank you so much, Overzealots. Saw you on Noah Samson's stream. Fucking awesome. We got some VIPs in the fucking chat, folks. W's in the chat for Overzealots. That's fucking awesome, man. Thank you so much for being here. That's crazy. Sorry you had to walk in on me getting my shirt stained. Embarrassing. W's in the chat for Overzealots, folks. Right now, we ain't messing with that over here. Okay, let me go back a little bit.
A completely reality.
Sorry, guys. We're gonna do this right now. Okay. No more staining T-shirts.
For Israelis in the 1990s during the Oslo process, in the 2000s with the Second Intifada, certainly with the rockets when they took over, and then October 7th. But I would argue that Hamas has been a far more menacing threat to the very existence and welfare of the Palestinian people. And trying to hold those multiple truths immediately erases my heritage, my pride of my Palestinian background. I'm a spy, I'm a Zionist, I'm a traitor.
Continue dropping those W's in the chat for Overzealots. We appreciate their content too, everything, all their coverage, all that shit. We love you guys. So thank you so much.
I'm a sellout, I'm a bootlicker, I'm all of those things. And I've appreciated
officially friend of the show, Overzealots. That's fucking awesome.
Fact that you, among other allies across both the Jewish community and non-Jewish community, have really been seeking to bolster those of us who are trying our best to be pragmatic, be moderates, be reasonable, be about our people's rights without promoting terrorism, which is very sexy nowadays among some in the circles, which is despicable.
One thing that...
Oh my God, this guy was made for Ethan. This guy was fucking made for Ethan. These young people are glorifying terrorism like we're seeing nowadays. Oh, you mean like Hassan? Ethan can't wait to fucking bring up Hassan. I'm sure he's going to give him 5 seconds. He's going to bring up Hassan. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We go.
After October 7th that really shook me, was completely unexpected, was the outward support for Hamas, like immediately after. Because like I always had this understanding, like, oh, everybody knows they're like evil and they're bad guys and they're terrorists, right? But then after October 7th, I had my co-host Hassan Piker. I came on here to be like, dude, isn't this crazy?
Bro, he got such a childlike. Sorry, I'm eating. I'm gonna swallow. He talks about Hamas like it's a fucking Marvel movie. Everyone knows they're the bad guys. Everyone knows they're evil. The guy's fucking talking about nuance, that fucking guy. Where's the nuance in this fucking conversation? Hamas, everyone knows they're the bad guys and they're evil. What the fuck kind of conversation is that? Are you like a 12-year-old talking about this?
Because like I always had this understanding like, oh, everybody knows they're like evil and they're bad guys and they're terrorists, right? But then after October 7th, I had my co-host Hassan Piker. I came on here to be like, dude, isn't this crazy?
Hassan mentioned, folks. He got the guy on at 2:26. 2 minutes in, Hassan mentioned.
And he's unable to say a bad thing about them. The audience is in full. It seems to be in full support of Hamas, and I didn't even consider that a possibility. I was like completely reality shattering for me when I saw that, and it's continued since then. It's really something,
Well, you just hit on basically why I decided to put myself forth. I worked for an international philanthropic organization and research organization focused on.
Sorry, people are asking to show the food. I'm gonna try. It's complicated. So these are mashed chickpeas, and I just put some salad over it. Let me see if you guys can see. Whoopsie. Feels a little too appetizing. Not chickpeas, sorry. Lentils, sorry. Mushed lentils. So basically looks like brown goo. And I put some fattoush salad over it. Nice and healthy, folks. Get my protein that way. Get some good old grains.
Africa before October 7th for the last 8 years. And I've maintained my contact with Gaza ever since I came here, and we can get into elements of my story later. But while I've been on and off involved with what you would call the mainstream pro-Palestine movement, I had stepped away. But I was shocked myself that in the past, at least there was the pretense, and I'll be honest with you, like there was the pretense, a goodwill effort, or at least a recognition of saying, well, I'm not down with Hamas, but the blockade. Well, I'm not down with Hamas, but Israeli policy.
Why do we need these disclaimers anymore? Well, I'm not down with Hamas, but bro, I'm not down with the fucking genocide. I'm not down with the blockade. I'm not down with an apartheid. I'm not down with settling in Palestinian land. Why do we need to why do I have to preface all of that shit with, well, I'm against Hamas, but Israelis should stop doing what the fuck they're doing, and Hamas wouldn't even fucking exist, bro. They wouldn't even fucking exist, you dumb fuck. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to insult a Palestinian man today. I know it's not a popular thing because they're victims. And this man has lost 33 family members. But this man is a fucking idiot.
Well, no, I'm with the Palestinian people. I don't support Hamas and there were tiers of that, right? Mm-hmm. And then on October 7th, I would say something flipped, something really shifted. But I want to share though, before October 7th, going way back, there were elements of supporters for Hamas throughout the movement, but it was generally understood.
They had to keep it low key.
Precisely, keep it low key, and they were genuinely I believe the smaller elements. So, for example, in the first war, I was, I'm 35 right now. I was 18 in 2008.
What? He is actually 35? I'm 34. What? What the fuck? Sorry guys, I'm starving. It's 8:30 p.m. here, gotta have my dinner. He's 30 fucking 5? Bro. No fucking way, bro. Okay. No. This needs to change. This kind of beard, in Arabic we call it the seksuke, or like the goatee, the connected goatee. Automatically, this is giving you 5 years. You gotta lose some weight. You gotta grow the hair. The bald look with these fucking who still wears these glasses? So this needs to go. This needs to go for sure. This goatee. The glasses, the half glass and half black. Who still does that, bro? You can't be doing that in 2025. And the bald head and the weight and the fucking ugly ass shirt. You look 45. You look 50. What the fuck, bro? I'm not trying to be mean, but like, geez, 35? Bro, I'm that age. That's just making me feel great about myself and how I look. Holy shit. I'm fucking great for a 35-year-old. Jesus Christ. 34, I'm going on 35. Look at this. Change the seksuke. This needs to go. At least disconnect the mustache and the chin part. And like, He's got like that double chin here, so he's got the beard here, and then the other level here. This is just highlighting your double chin, the different levels of hair. So this is bad. The glasses are bad. The bald hair is bad. You need to lose a little bit of weight. Wear some better shirts, not like an old man shirt. Bruh. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to be a bully, but like, Jesus Christ. I'm this man's age. I am this man's age, bro.
2009.
I just need to go check up on my stained shirt. Bro, that shirt is fucked. All right, let's go back.
I remember, you know, I was always, you know, very good in like public talking, and I was always making, you know, a compelling case for why what's happening in Gaza is unjust, etc. I remember vividly in San Francisco, a reporter asking me, well, what do you think about these rockets that Hamas is shooting? They're indiscriminate, they're terrible. And I remember answering the reporter, of course I'm against Hamas's rockets, and I'm against random acts of violence, and that's not what the Palestinian people want, because Gazans don't want Hamas. And even back then, they didn't want these unmasked dudes. They just show up next to your house, they put up this launching pad, silly launching pad, they shoot off the missile, and then Israeli aircraft come and just like destroy the whole area.
Oh my God. Oh, he's doing straight up propaganda, bro. He's like saying that like Hamas goes, sets up in random people's houses and just fires rockets. Like, again, he is justifying the killing of Palestinians that way by saying that, yeah, Hamas does do all these things that the IDF says that they do. So, hey, they're going to get killed. What do you want them to do? It justifies it. What the fuck? Eru sends $10. No, but you don't get it. The babies are Hamas. The goats are Hamas. And the ants are also, everyone is Hamas, Eru. Everyone. The cats are Hamas. The walls, the grass, the olive trees. You got a fucking white phosphorus, that shit. Lars sends another $5. Am I the only one who thinks it's hilarious how much this man seems to love airplanes? Oh my God, I just noticed that. He's got all these airplanes in the back. That's so funny. Pictures of airplanes on the side. That man's jerk-offs to airplanes.
And
wait, let me see.
Don't want Hamas and violence, and that's not what the Palestinian people want, because Gazans don't want Hamas. And even back then, they didn't want these unmasked dudes. They just show up next to your house, they put up this launching pad, silly launching pad, they shoot off the missile, and then Israeli aircraft come and just like destroy the whole area. And so that was like when I was growing up, man. But when I was growing up in Gaza, it wasn't the rockets. They used to have mortars in there, and people hated when Hamas or Islamic Jihad.
Yeah, it's gotta be terrifying when they set that up next to your post up next to your house or wherever you live.
Exactly. So like it was a universally.
You know what they also hate? The Palestinians living in Gaza, being trapped in Gaza. They probably don't like that. You know. They don't like Israel having complete control of their electricity, power supply, water, food, everything going in and out. I mean, they don't like that. They don't like living in an open air prison. They don't like not being allowed to fucking leave Palestine and not walk around the rest of their land. Do you think about that, Ahmed? Look at this fucking face. Look at his 35-year-old fucking face. This man is my age, folks. This man is my age.
Loathed thing, and people were like, so what? Like, what are you going to do? And then meanwhile, Israeli surveillance drones are overhead, the Apaches, the F-16s. So like, through my lived experience, through my contact with people in Gaza, through the understanding that since Hamas took over in 2007, they accelerated the use of civilian areas for this action. So I was able, even as an 18-year-old, to say, well, yeah, of course I'm against these rockets. And the way Israel's conducting this,
right?
That and yada yada. Like, I was immediately pulled to the side. I'll never forget this by one of the organizers of the someone who was at the time working through the Answer Coalition. The Answer Coalition have been around forever, and they were like, Ahmed.
Wait, I want to hear what he said again.
What are you going to do? And then meanwhile, Israeli surveillance drones are overhead, the Apaches, the F-16s. So like, through my lived experience, through my contact with people in Gaza, through the understanding that since Hamas took over in 2007, they accelerated the use of civilian areas for this action. So I was able, even as an 18-year-old, to say, well, yeah, of course I'm against these rockets. And the way Israel's conducting
Response, right.
that and yada yada. Like,
Yeah.
I was.
Both sides are to blame. He's both siding it, folks. He's not blaming the oppressor. He's not blaming the root cause. He's blaming both of them. He's blaming the victim, basically. He's literally victim blaming and blaming the resistance, blaming the fact that there is a resistance to fight an oppression. What a fucking sellout, bro.
Immediately pulled to the side. I'll never forget this. By one of the organizers of the someone who was at the time working through the Answer Coalition. The Answer Coalition have been around forever. And they were like, Ahmed, that was terrible. Don't ever do that again. You always pivot away from talking about Hamas and the rockets. You always make it about Israel. I was like, okay, wait, but I did talk about Israel, but I legitimately expressed the sentiment that I know people in Gaza, like, I talk to my friends, no, it doesn't matter. You always stay on point. Keep the focus on Israel. Hamas is irrelevant in this whole, I was like, wait, but.
Well, they are irrelevant because if Israel isn't carrying an apartheid state, if they're not oppressing the Palestinians, if they're not forcing them to live in Gaza, Hamas doesn't have a reason to exist. Palestinians don't have a reason to elect them to government. They don't need a resistance if there's nothing to resist against. That is the point. So that's why you don't really need to talk about Hamas when you're talking about the conflict, because at the end of the day, Israel has all the power to stop this, not Hamas. There's nothing Hamas could do right now to stop the violence. They could return every single hostage. The goal is ethnic cleansing. The goal is to get the Palestinians out of Gaza, bro. That's the goal. That's what's happening right now.
Literally, the conflict is happening because Hamas started all these things. Like, come on, guys. Like, so that was the first crack for me. I was like, really? We're going to engage in dishonesty just to be, but I didn't think much of it at the time. And
Ethan is loving this, by the way. This is music to his ears.
Was like, okay, whatever, that's one person. And I continued to seek to do this pragmatic approach of saying, look, Hamas is like bad, like Hamas is terrible. And I would get some funny looks, but for the most part, people didn't really give me a hard time or push back. But what I would say is that since October 7th, there's been a complete shift, man.
Right.
And I have a couple of theories to that. I think one of them is that, it's been like, almost 10 years from October 7th since the last major war. And like, that's enough time for enough of the younger generations of Arab Americans, Palestinian Americans,
Motherfucker's calling it a war. I'm done eating, folks. I'm gonna take a break eating. He just called it a fucking war, first of all. And what happened in Sheikh Jarrah like 3 years ago, bro, was fucking insane. So no, it's not been 10 years, you motherfucker. It's been a consistent ethnic cleansing of the people. It's not as bad as it's been the last 2 years, but you can't just sit back and say it was nothing for the past 10 years.
Palestine, the Muslim Americans, the pro-Palestine movement writ large. So you have a new kind of wave of younger generations. But the other theory is that I actually think because of the success, and I'm putting that in quotes, success, it was horrible, it was a disaster, but the initial success of the attack of October 7th, I genuinely think that some people were like, oh, well, maybe armed resistance isn't so bad. Maybe it can work against a much more powerful adversary like Israel. Little did they know that, like, within 8 hours, like, the Israelis were starting to push back, and then the bombardment began. So, like, it was a complete failure. And then number 3, and this is where I get in the most trouble, because people start thinking that I'm somehow this, like, far right.
He seems kind of, like, happy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, within 8 hours, like, he looks so jolly when talking about it.
Adversary like Israel. Little did they know that, like, within 8 hours, like, the Israelis were starting to push back, and then the bombardment began. So, like, it was a complete failure. And then number 3, and this is where
35 years old, folks. Just remember, he's 35 years old.
I get in the most trouble, because people start thinking that I'm somehow this, like, far right crazy. Like, I'm not. Like, I'm not far right. I'm not far left. Like, I'm a middle of the road. And me personally, I'll be honest with you, I'm a Democrat. I'm a registered Democrat. So, but nevertheless,
what the fuck does that mean? You're a registered Democrat? Who was in power when the genocide started? Was it a Republican? It was Joe Biden. And Kamala Harris said she wouldn't change a thing.
I actually think the pro-Palestine community and movement neatly plugged into a lot of the insanity of some of the extreme woke left. And I'm not saying woke left. I'm not saying that I'm coming from a, like necessarily a MAGA perspective. I'm just saying that the broader environment, the 10 years since, you know, the 2014 big war in Gaza versus 2023, almost 10 years later, things in the Western world, and particularly in the United States, are
so the fact that he's using woke left, the guy's using is actually like, what kind of, this guy's a fucking Republican. Or he's like Cenk Uygur, like Anna Kasparian style Democrat, the woke left. You've already lost me, bro. You're using the word woke unironically. The fuck kind of guest is this, bro? Is that what Ethan's doing now, bro? Is this what we're back at?
neatly plugged into a lot of the insanity of some of the extreme woke left. And I'm not saying woke left. I'm not saying that I'm coming from a, like necessarily a MAGA perspective. I'm just saying that
the woke left is the true danger to society. And like, what the, Jesus, bro, get a grip, 35-year-old freak.
Broader environment, the 10 years since, you know, the 2014 big war in Gaza versus 2023, almost 10 years later, things in the Western world, and particularly in the United States, are different, such that, you know, like we don't have critical race theory in Palestine. We have now critical Palestine theory, and that is the Palestinians have no agency. There's no accountability. What they did on October 7th was an inevitability, and that's why I call that the inevitability fraud.
Mm-hmm.
That October 7th was an inevitability when it wasn't, and so that's where.
Wait, what? This guy's saying so much shit, bro.
Almost 10 years later, things in the Western world, and particularly in the United States, are different, such that, you know, like we don't have critical race theory in Palestine. We have now critical Palestine theory, and that is.
What the fuck does that mean?
The Palestinians have no agency. There's no accountability.
They have no agency, bro. Have you read the Abraham Accords? It's normalizing relations with Israel without even taking the Palestinians into fucking consideration. They have no rights over what they want to fucking do. They can't fucking move around their own country, bro. They can't do shit. They can't even control if they get water or electricity into Gaza. They don't even have access to food or water right now. There's a fucking famine going on. They have no control over the situation. And this guy's talking about Palestinians not having agency as if it's not true. They don't have any fucking agency over shit right now. And yes, October 7th was an inevitability, bro. What do you think happens when you keep poking something and poking something and poking something and poking something? Eventually, it's going to fucking bite back, bro. That's what's going to fucking happen.
What they did on October 7th was an inevitability, and that's why I call that the inevitability fraud.
Mm-hmm.
That October 7th was an...
Violence begets violence. When you treat people and you oppress them and you treat them with violence and you treat them like shit and you give them no rights and you steal their land and you kill them over fucking decades, something is going to happen. Of course something is going to happen. Some kind of retaliation is going to take place.
Inevitability when it wasn't. And so that's where I was really surprised that on day 2 or 3, there were these mass protests.
Right.
Effectively celebrating it and at the same time calling it a genocide.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And so, you know, what strikes me is
So he doesn't even agree that it's a genocide? And what protests is he talking about? The mass protests weren't supporting the attack. The mass protests were supporting the Palestinian people.
I call that the inevitability fraud. That October 7th was an inevitability when it wasn't. And so that's where I was really surprised that on day 2 or 3, there were these mass protests.
Right.
Effectively celebrating it and at the same time calling it a genocide.
Oh, this fucking guy's disgusting. This guy's disgusting, bro. He's saying that the mass protests that were happening like around the world were in support of the actual like October 7th attack rather than in defense of the Palestinian people and in fear of the retribution that was going to happen to them. Is that what the fuck he's saying? And at the same time, we were calling it a genocide. It is a genocide, bro. Why is he denying that it's a genocide?
Right. Yeah. And so, you know, what strikes me is the difference between what appears to be the difference between what the people in Gaza actually want and advocate for, and then what Western leftists are being like, actually, no, you guys need to fight till you're all dead. Like, it's just, it strikes me as so deeply ironic. And like you said, there's a bigotry of low expectations where it's like, of course, these people are going to act like barbarians. Of course, they're going to want to be violent. Of course, they're going to be like this. It's like, no, that doesn't, how, it's like.
DOC Dismay sends $2 and says, Gazans, man, spends too much time around Israelis. I hate it when people call them Gazans. Drives me crazy.
little do you think of them that you think that?
Then Ethan thinks that we want all Palestinians to die. Like me, I want Palestinians to keep fighting and never make any deal with Israel. I want them to fight to the death. No, man, I want them to make the deal, the one deal, the one-state solution. Let them fucking go back to their land. Let them fucking live in their country side by side with Israelis, bro. Let's just fucking do that. How about that?
Of course, these people are going to act like barbarians. Of course, they're going to want to be violent. Of course, they're going to be like this. It's like, no, that doesn't. It's like, how little do you think of them that you think that
of course they're gonna. Who's calling them barbarians, bro? You're calling them barbarians. We're not saying that. Of course they're gonna be barbaric.
they have to act out in this way? Like, it's one thing to say, I understand why they're doing it. I understand the mentality of how they got there and how they got radicalized. But this presumption that, like, of course, it's like you were saying, the inevitability of fraud, it's that. Of being like, of course they're going to have to, like, go slaughter a bunch of civilians. What do you expect? And it's like, that can't be true.
Precisely that, brother. And I mean, I was on a YouTube show with a famous, European, let's not mention names. I don't like to mention names, but I was a famous economist. And he's like, he knows best because those Europeans, they're going to tell me as a Gazan what time it is. And he was like, well, of course the Palestinians in Gaza are going to act, his words verbatim, this is a quote, of course the Gazans are going to act like animals.
Yeah, he said that.
Yes, on live YouTube show. Of course they're going to act like animals on October 7th and like total barbarians because Israel made them into animals and barbarians. Israel made them into animals. I was like, okay, we need a little bit of a timeout, sir. First of all, that is incredibly racist. And then he got all worked up like, no, I'm not racist. The Israelis are the worst creatures and and I was like, whoa. Excuse me, sir. First of all, the decision to launch October 7th was a decision. It was a choice. It was not an inevitability. It didn't have to happen. All of these Western, experts in academia make it seem like Gaza was starving, that Gazans were like a North Korea-style famine in '94.
What is he doing with his fucking hands? What is he doing with his arms, bro? Maki, 1 second, folks. Maki, not right now. Go back to the blankie. Go back to the blankie, man. Come on. Blankie time. Daddy's busy. What is he doing, bro? He's undermining, he's underrepresenting, bro. Like, he's making it seem like the struggle of Gazans was like
on
nothing.
The floor,
Palestinians.
It was not an inevitability. It didn't have to happen. All of these Western, experts in academia make it seem like Gaza was starving, that Gazans were like a North Korea-style famine in '94, crawling on the floor looking for crumbs of food, when in fact, this was a decision by Nour and Dave, two psychopaths underground, who not only didn't consult the rest of Gaza, they didn't even consult the rest of Hamas and the rest of Iran and the axis of resistance, Iran and Hezbollah, who had nebulous ideas about this happening. But basically, he went into like total operational security mode and decided to do this on his own. My point is that this was a very narrow, specific operation.
Bro, Sinwar was at the Great March of Return. Like, Sinwar tried peaceful protesting. He tried. They marched, bro, every single fucking day. And then Israeli snipers fucking shot at fucking children at the Great March of Return. So all of these people you're talking about tried everything before. And it isn't enough. Dude, I'm sure if you look back in history, and if you look back at oppressed people, at one point or another, there was a violent revolution. At one point or another, bro, they're going to revolt and use fucking force. And again, let's go back to South Africa.
Against Saudi-Israeli normalization. This was a military coup within Hamas. Hamas's popularity was down in the toilet in Gaza before October 7th. So this was an attempt to rejuvenate the armed resistance narrative and fraud. But
and this was when the Abrams Accord were happening. Like, the rest of the world was going to normalize relations with Israel. Palestine was being left out of the conversation. I'm not saying, again, that October 7th was a good thing, but, like, it brought Palestine back to the forefront of the conversation. Now it's on everyone's fucking minds. When no one was talking about them, no one was thinking about what was going to happen to the Palestinians once every nation normalizes relations with Israel, and then they fucking kick the Palestinians out of Gaza.
Half of which Hamas siphoned so many resources of the Palestinian people's resources. And again, I say this because my goal is like, I'm not self-hating, I'm not self-flagellating. Like, I love my people, I'm proud of the people of Gaza. I think the people of Gaza, many of them have incredible potential, incredible talent. Many people in Gaza, they ran successful businesses. There were beaches, there were hotels, Gaza had its first shopping malls during the blockade, okay? And by the way, yes, of course, Gaza also had some of the most polluted.
This guy's trying to make it seem like life in Gaza. Look, they're opening malls. It wasn't that bad. They got successful hotels. They even opened a mall, even during the blockade. What he's trying to say is that the blockade wasn't that bad. Hence, the blockade isn't that bad. Hence, we can coexist with the Israelis the way they are. Hence, shit shouldn't change. Just give us a two-state solution. He's literally trying to rationalize and whitewash what the Israelis did to his people.
Water and issues with that were the result of the blockade, but the blockade, people understand the blockade. The blockade.
He's doing this. He's literally doing this while discussing the blockade like there is good and bad. Like, hey, the blockade made us build a mall. Sure, the water was polluted and we're all dying a slow death from disease, but hey, we built a mall during the blockade. It's not that bad. You give a little, you lose a little. What can I say? What the fuck, man?
Was not this stagnant regime. It was a system that evolved since 2006, and it went through multiple phases and stages. There were at times when it was as harsh and horrendous and inhumane as calculating the number of calories by the IDF that the people of Gaza needed to survive. Oh, like at one point, John Kerry went into Gaza and he looked at the list of prohibited items, and it was like pasta and like Crayolas and stuff. And after that, after a reassessment, especially after the 2014 war, there was a fundamental reassessment of the blockade regime where there was an effort by Kogat and by elements within the Israeli apparatus to try to let Gaza flourish from a business point of view, and then later on they let the Qataris come in, and that's a whole other beast that we'll tackle in a little bit, with Netanyahu then using that as a way to keep the Palestinians divided and as political leverage. And that's where I think there needs to be accountability on the Israeli side for this 3D chess that backfired horribly. But the point is that I actually would
that's where the accountability needs to be. That's it.
Argue up to October 7th, the blockade was at arguably its lowest point, whereby there were 20,000 people that were working in Israel, and that number was about to go to 50,000. My mom, I was regularly talking to her. My mom, when I came to the United States, I came here when I was 15, and none of my immediate or extended family came with me. I came by myself, and I was never able to go back in 2006 when Hamas abducted an Israeli soldier. And so,
oh my God, bro! Again, look at the framing. I was never able to go back when Hamas abducted an Israeli soldier. He can't even blame Israel for not being able to go back to his country. He blames Hamas. This guy's disgusting, bro. Nothing this guy says should be listened to.
Myself, and I was never able to go back in 2006 when Hamas abducted an Israeli soldier.
Look at the framing right away. When Hamas abducted if only Hamas hadn't abducted that Israeli soldier, I could have gone back. Well, why would Hamas abduct an Israeli soldier? Why would Hamas abduct an Israeli soldier? You fucking idiot.
And so I always had this like physical connection to the land. Through my dad ran an UNRWA, the UN refugee clinic agency rather, that ended up becoming controversial during this war. He ran their clinic in Somalia in northern.
Controversial during this war. Bro, this man's disgusting. This man is a traitor to his people. He is an Uncle Tom. He's fucking this. He keeps calling it a war. He denied that it's a genocide. He's giving Israel so much fucking leeway. He's
one side, the Israelis clearly having overwhelming advantage. There is still, nevertheless, space within said imbalance for Palestinian aid.
Got spooked by something.
I think we're back, folks.
Sorry,
we're back.
the dog. we have a room full of dogs that just got spooked by something. Go on. Sorry, apologies.
Oh, no worries. My point is, October, like within the imbalance, this is what many commentators don't get. Within the imbalance of power dynamics, there's asymmetry of power between Palestinians and Israelis, with one side, the Israelis clearly having overwhelming advantage. There is still, nevertheless, space within said.
At least he recognized the imbalance of power. Jesus, I thought this guy thought we're dealing with two equal sides here. At the very least, folks, he says there is an imbalance of power. Maybe there is hope for this man.
Imbalance for Palestinian agency and accountability and responsibility to optimize for better decision making, to optimize for better circumstances, so that you don't hand our people on a silver platter to the most far-right government in Israel's history, committing the worst single-day attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust, on a government that has Smotrich,
Sorry, I'm getting some. The power keeps cutting up here.
optimize for better circumstances, so that you don't hand our people on a silver platter to the most far-right government in Israel's history, committing the worst single-day attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust, on a government that has Smotrich, Ben Gvir, and Netanyahu. And so that's where I speak with passion, and that to me is what's missing from the discourse. It's easy to go on endlessly attacking Israel to the moon and back. And you know what? If that suits you, that's for some people, that's their prerogative, though
If that suits you, for some people, dude, this man has a disgusting face. I'm sorry. Eirib Sheklek, bro. I'm sorry. Someone needs to fucking say it. This guy's fucking disgusting looking. 35-year-old motherfucking ogre, fucking Shrek looking motherfucker. If you want to talk shit about Israel, that's your prerogative. You could do that if you want. I love Israel. What the fuck is your deal, bro?
I feel like that's become kind of a trendy thing to do. But if you actually genuinely want to help the Palestinian people, if you want to learn from our past mistakes, if you want our people to learn from the repeated failures of 77 years since 1948, then it's time to look inward. And again, that's not...
It's time to look inward, folks. The Palestinians, the people of Gaza who are being slaughtered right now, need to look inward. Forget that you're missing an arm. You know what I mean? You're bleeding out. You're losing, you know, your child is crawling for their life. Or they're like, Daddy, please, I can't feel my legs. You're losing, you know, you're bleeding out. You got to look inward and be like, what did I do wrong in this situation? What could I have done differently to stop me and my family from being genocided by the IDF? Great point, sir. Fucking genius.
You know, blaming the victim. I actually think that's the first step to empowering the Palestinian people, instead of all of these academics rushing to say, oh, y'all have no agency, no accountability. In Israel to the moon, missing from the discourse. It's easy to go on.
Sorry, guys. Okay,
endlessly attacking Israel to the moon and back. And you know what? If that suits you, that's for some people, that's their prerogative, though I feel like that's become kind of a trendy thing to do. But if you actually genuinely want to help the Palestinian people, if you want to learn from our past mistakes, if you want our people to learn from the repeated failures of 77 years since 1948, then it's time to look inward.
Yeah, sorry, guys. It switched automatically from 3G to Wi-Fi, and my Wi-Fi from 4G to Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is shit. So as he was talking about inward, I don't know if you guys got that part, but like he wants Palestinians to look inward, as like a mother is laying there with a missing arm and her child is crawling, you know, mommy, I can't feel my legs. You got to ask yourself, as a Palestinian who's bleeding out, what could I have done differently to avoid being bombed by the IDF? He's right. He's a genius, folks.
And again, that's not, you know, blaming the victim. I actually think that's the first step to empowering the Palestinian people, instead of all of these academics rushing to say, oh, y'all have no agency, no accountability, y'all are angels, whatever you do, you can't be blamed because it's all Israel's fault.
So he's saying that Palestinians share the blame with Israelis for what's happening to them. Don't blame the oppressor. Don't blame the apartheid regime. Don't blame the Jewish supremacy, the Jewish supremacist state that is maintaining its Jewish supremacy by conducting a genocide and an ethnic cleansing of Gaza. Don't blame them. Blame both sides. Both sides need to work together, folks. They need to sit down, put their differences aside, and just come up with a peaceful solution for a two-state solution. As, by the way, while Israel is literally ethnically cleansing Gaza, they're getting rid of everyone. They're getting them all out of there, bro. What the fuck is this guy even fucking talking about? Fuck you, you piece of shit.
You know, there's seems to be a growing movement of people protesting Hamas at seemingly a great risk to their own personal safety. I know I read some of the protesters were
Trust me, it's more dangerous to protest Israel than it is to protest Hamas. You're way more likely to get shot or killed by protesting Israel than you are protesting Hamas in Gaza, bro. Promise.
Executed or and left like at his parents' house or something like that outside. But there seems to be a growing protest, and simultaneously there seems to be people like Hassan Piker and people like him who are simultaneously kind of discrediting them or trying to change their motives. They like if he'll say like it's not that serious, or they're there to protest Israel primarily. They don't actually hate Hamas, or they're there because of whatever. He thinks it's not a big deal. There's not a lot of people there. They're actually there to protest Israel primarily, and this is just propaganda. Again, it's like these leftist liberals, or I mean these Western leftists,
they're the problem,
like
man.
They're clearly not helping, and I don't understand. I just don't understand, you know.
1 sec, I was going to throw this shirt in the laundry. Be right back.
And like the way that they're now defending this shooter in D.C., or not maybe defending, but excusing. A lot of people are defending. A lot of people are excusing.
Oh, a lot of people are outright defending him.
Yeah. And so it's like, and then I see Netanyahu giving these insane fucking speeches, or other government officials of Israel. And I'm like, I hate these people. And now these people are saying like the most heinous, insane shit that I never want to hear them saying. And it's like, it's making everything worse. It's giving these people a platform in Israel who are the worst. And it's giving just more justification for these so-called activists online who are cheering on more violence. It's just, I don't understand the point, and it just doesn't seem complicated to me. I don't know. I'm blackpilled on it.
Yeah. So I wanna say something just for the record. Like, I don't know Mr. Piker. I know of him through you explicitly. I am disappointed recently by the fact that he hosted a gentleman by the name of the Bad Empanada.
Oh, you know about him?
The Bad Empanada, folks. Oh my God, that's so funny. The Bad Empanada.
Empanada has incited so heavily against me. Some of the worst death threats that I have received against my life came from people directly affiliated.
Do you know how often I hear that?
Yeah.
And he did a whole hit piece on me. And for some reason, he just dedicated so much of his energy to me. And I was like, dude, just let it go. Let it be. There was a hit piece on me by basically a leftist rag that's like a Russian, Iranian, North Korean propaganda outlet that claimed Israel is paying me $30 million to promote genocide. And of course, you know, Mr. Empanada just and he called me the final boss of respectability politics. And you know, again, and I'm speaking about this not in a personalized sense. I've had way worse guys than Mr. Empanada come out. I've had Al-Qaeda guys straight up, and it's all here threatened to, which is weird because I'm single, I don't have kids, threatened to behead, to rape my children, behead my wife, and then rape me and behead me. And these are like people like Al-Qaeda, like they're like big Al-Qaeda guys coming after me to the point where
Motherfucker, Al-Qaeda don't want nothing to do with your fucking dumbass. Nasty ass looking ogre motherfucker.
I've had to acquire the means to defend myself.
Wow.
So
the Mr. Empanada, please take the stand. What do you claim, Mr. Empanada? Do you stand by what you told this man, Mr. Empanada?
It's not a pity party. I'm simply saying that, you know, having Mr. Hassan and the Bad Empanada, two non-Palestinians, sitting up there pontificating about, you know, what is good for the Palestinians and genocide this and genocide that and resistance, how pompous can one get is that. But Mr. Piker, if he has any interest in actually engaging in this and actually like engaging in a goodwill conversation,
I would love that. I would love to see him talk to you. I don't think he will because it's too disruptive, but it's too disruptive to his message.
To the narrative.
Yeah.
I have personally been, I've come this close to disavowing the entirety, and this is something that as a radical pragmatist, you know, because I launched Realign for Palestine, which is about radical pragmatism, a rejection of violence, multiple truths, different layers of engagement, dialogue, conversation.
Again, we looked at the website. He literally says we need to stop violent rhetoric like from the river to the sea. So fuck you, you dumb bitch.
conversations, not as kumbaya, but actually as a pragmatic, meaningful way of establishing common ground. And I've come this, but despite the aforementioned, I've come this close to disavowing the entirety of the pro-Palestine movement as basically being a complete fraud. And I know people in it who are following me, who are trying their best, and I know there are good people in the movement. This is just the only thing that's out there, and I'm trying.
Okay. This guy's a fucking plant. This guy's a fucking Israeli plant, bro. He's literally saying, I've given up on the pro-Palestine movement, free Palestine movement. Shoo baddak ya eire. They're the only people fucking standing up for what's right and trying to speak up for what's happening. Are some people going to take it a bit to the extreme? Of course. That's enough. You're like just fucking like Ethan Klein. A couple of Redditors said something mean to me. Mr. Empanada was mean to me. I give up on the whole free Palestine movement. What the fuck? And again, every fucking time I pause the video, he looks like a fucking ogre. That can't be a coincidence. This man is a monster, man. Every time I pause, he looks like this, bro. Every time I pause, he looks hideous.
A complete fraud. And I know people in it who are
but this is so dangerous, you know what I mean? This is, you got a Palestinian guy. Again, no one's going to listen to him, but Ethan's audience is going to fucking listen to this guy. You have a Palestinian guy who claims to be pro-Palestine, who's like the pro-Palestine movement is a fucking fraud. What the fuck? Lars is sending $5 and says, we're taking it easy on AB and Lena, but how do you think they're feeling hearing this? Imagine telling Lena your family in Lebanon should look inward. Honestly, Lars, I don't care what AB and Lena think anymore. I don't give a fuck what they feel about this. You know what I mean? Who cares? They're getting paid, aren't they? That's all they care about. Who cares about them? Honestly.
And I've come this, but despite the aforementioned, I've come this close to disavowing the entirety of the pro-Palestine movement as basically being a complete fraud. And I know people in it who are following me, who are trying their best, and I know there are good people in the movement. This is just the only thing that's out there, and I'm trying really hard to be compassionate. And what really, like the two things that have just made it so exceptionally difficult, never mind the attacks on me, calling me a Zionist, the constant threats. They go and harass me on college campuses when I speak and interrupt me and scream free Palestine at me. Imagine screaming free Palestine at a Palestinian from Gaza who literally runs a program called Realign for Palestine, who has family that was killed in Gaza, who is literally deaf in his left ear because of a bombing by the IDF. Like imagine just the stupidity of yelling back.
The arrogance.
And the arrogance.
It's just,
I mean,
yeah.
So sorry,
trust me, I
Weird. It says that the stream is only 7 minutes long. Are you guys having that issue? Like if I'm rewinding, if I'm trying to go back to the beginning of the stream, all I get is like 7 minutes of stream. Is that the case for you guys? Because that's what I'm seeing right now. If you guys try to rewind to the beginning of the stream, can you guys see it, or are you guys stuck at 7 minutes?
What happened since the anti-Hamas? What happened with the pro-Palestine movement since the anti-Hamas protests in Gaza has exposed it all, has laid it bare for everybody to see. All the journalists, all the social media influencers, all the outlets, the independent outlets out there. This was disruptive to the narrative. This turned things upside down. Nobody touched it. A mere handful of people wanted to touch it. I was supporting these.
So what does that mean if it crashed? Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted. Like if the stream crashed, what happened to the rest of the footage? Did that just disappear? Like completely? What happens? Can someone look it up? What happens in that case?
Folks in Gaza. I was helping them out. I was sending
I'm kind of distracted. I can't listen to this guy right now. So the stream restarted a few times. So what does that mean? When I end the stream, will you guys be able to rewatch the whole thing or no?
Sorry, I'm just.
Trust me, I totally get it.
What happened since the anti-Hamas? What happened with the pro-Palestine movement since the anti-Hamas protests in Gaza has exposed it all, has laid it bare for everybody to see. All the journalists, all the social media influencers, all the outlets, the independent outlets out there. This was disruptive to the narrative. This turned things.
It's fucking weird. It's pissing me off. Thomas Jerome Newton sends 5,500 CLP, says, odd given since Ahmed is on the same side of AlKhatib as CIA operatives. Lol, that's funny. So I'm just trying to figure out what happened to this fucking stream, because there was some good content that we did at the beginning. If it's all lost, that's kind of sad. You know, we were like, it's literally just a 9-minute stream now. God damn.
Upside down. Nobody touched it. A mere handful of people.
Froggy Friend says the stream is still 2 hours for me. Okay, I hope it ends up working or something.
Wanted to touch it.
So I'm gonna go back a little bit, guys. I was distracted. Okay.
People in it who are following me, who are trying their best, and I know there are good people in the movement. This is just the only thing that's out there, and I'm trying really hard to be compassionate. And what really, like, the two things that have just made it so exceptionally difficult, never mind the attacks on me, calling me a Zionist, the constant threats. They go and harass me on college campuses when I speak and interrupt me and scream free Palestine at me. Imagine screaming free Palestine at a Palestinian from Gaza who literally...
Who loves Israel and who keeps running cover for Israelis and who keeps trying to whitewash what they're doing. Hey, I mean, there was a blockade, but we were opening malls. Oh...
runs a program called Realign for Palestine, who has family that was killed in Gaza, who is literally deaf in his left ear because of a bombing by the IDF. Like, imagine.
You seem to hate Hamas a lot more than you hate the IDF, my guy. You seem to like the IDF and the Israelis a lot more than you like your own people.
Just the stupidity of yelling
the
back.
Arrogance.
And the arrogance.
It's just,
I mean,
yeah.
You know, so... Sorry, I'm just.
Trust me, I
it's not coming up. It's not. What happened since the anti-Hamas? What happened with the pro-Palestine movement since the anti-Hamas protests in Gaza has exposed it all, has laid it bare for everybody to see. All the journalists, all the social media influencers, all the outlets, the independent outlets out there. This was disruptive to the narrative. This turned things upside down. Nobody touched it. A mere handful of people wanted to touch it. I was supporting these folks in Gaza. I was helping them out. I was sending some of them money. I was giving them messaging advice. They asked me, what do we do? They asked me, mobilize support. You're in Washington. Go talk to policymakers. I went to Capitol Hill. I talked to folks. I was trying desperately to get the mainstream media attention. These guys are not only the true freedom fighters, but they also actually proved wrong the insane Hasbara pro-Israel people that said everybody in Gaza is a terrorist.
Oh, he just called them Hasbara people. Is Ethan going to yell at him? Why did you call it Hasbara and not... why do you call Chinese propaganda something? Or do you just call it propaganda? Why are you using Hasbara to reference this right now, huh? Sorry, guys.
Everybody in Gaza loves Hamas. Everybody in Gaza, by the way, these people have always been there. They just, as Hamas has been weakened and as Hamas has become just that much more fascistic, they've decided to come forth. And so to see the ladder of escalation, it started with...
Artful Caden says, I opened the live in another tab and I can't rewind to the beginning. Ethan is at the start of the video. Yeah, something happened. I'm guessing once I'm done with the live, the whole thing should be recovered, or that first half will be lost forever. And there's nothing to be done about it. Crazy, man. Fucking live streaming in Lebanon is kind of a fucking stressful nightmare, to be honest.
Total radio silence about the anti-Hamas protesters. And it was so funny to see the indirect union. Ethan, listen to this very carefully, my brother. The indirect union between the crazy pro-Palestine people and the insane and I'm putting pro-Palestine in quotes and pro-Israel in quotes, union between the pro-Palestine crazies and the pro-Israel crazies. The pro-Palestine crazies who love Hamas, who are anti-Semitic, who believe in the armed resistance.
Or anti-Semitic. Oh, okay, this guy's fully in the pocket. This guy thinks that pro-Palestinians are mostly anti-Semitic, or if you support, maybe not necessarily Hamas, but the idea of armed resistance, the right to people to have armed resistance, you know what I mean? Otherwise, it's an army of Anne Franks. So if you support that, you're apparently anti-Semitic, according to this guy. So he's calling his own people anti-Semitic, essentially. Interesting.
Fraud. And the pro-Israel people who believe that everybody in Gaza is Hamas, everybody's a terrorist. And so both parties had an interest in diminishing, overlooking, undermining, or ignoring the anti-Hamas protesters in Gaza. And so it is the height.
Well, of course, there's going to be anti-Hamas protesters. There's anti-Hezbollah protests in Lebanon. There's always going to be people that are against what they're doing. There's going to be people who are not going to be happy with them. Of course, they have the right to protest. Why not? They're unhappy with their government and what they're doing. And some of them might be, maybe they were happy with what they were doing in the beginning. And then they're like, you know what? This October 7th thing is fucked up. My whole family's dead. Stop fucking doing it. Are people not allowed to dissent? But does that mean they don't want the right to an armed resistance? Protesting Hamas and what they're doing and maybe their mishandling of some situations doesn't mean that they don't want an armed resistance to defend them and to protect them when they need to. Dina Deathwish sends $2 and says, gotta make sure OBS is set to save video. I think it is. Thank you for the tip. I'll try to see if it's set to save video. Nour, can you ask Elijah if my OBS is set to save video? And let me know, please.
Of irony, the mother of all ironies, that is the only common ground they have managed to establish throughout the entirety of this war, is they were united against the innocent civilian people of Gaza who risked their lives. Some of them are my friends. Very sick, very, very sick. But then focusing back on the pro-Palestine movement, then they took it a step further recently. And then we saw an actual overt attack against the actual true freedom fighters of Gaza, not the rapists and the murderers and the beheaders and the people who burn people alive and the attackers and the child kidnappers and the murderers and the evil Hamas guys. No. Those are not freedom fighters. Those are a bunch of guys with salaries. Those guys all have salaries. Being a Hamas terrorist is an actual salary, okay? So, no, the real freedom fighters who were literally protesting.
Sorry, sorry guys, I'm making this a terrible experience. Technical difficulties.
Actual overt attack against the actual true freedom fighters of Gaza, not the rapists and the murderers and the beheaders and the people who
rapists, murderers, beheaders. Okay. Oh my dude, I fucking hate this guy. This guy's disgusting, bro. This guy's disgusting. I want to hear everything he's saying because it's so dangerous what he's saying.
Between the pro-Palestine crazies and the pro-Israel crazies. The pro-Palestine crazies who love Hamas, who are anti-Semitic, who believe in the armed resistance fraud, and the pro-Israel people who believe that everybody in Gaza is Hamas, everybody's a terrorist. And so both parties had an interest in diminishing, overlooking, undermining, or ignoring the anti-Hamas protesters in Gaza. And so it is the height of irony, the mother of all ironies, that is the only common ground they have managed to establish throughout the entirety of this war, is they were united against the innocent civilian people of Gaza who risked their lives. Some of them are my friends. Very sick, very, very sick. But then focusing back on the pro.
So I got to pause 1 sec, folks. I'll be right back. Literally 20 seconds. I'm going to cut you guys to the camera. Here we go. We back, folks. We back.
Movement. Then they took it a step further recently, and then we saw an actual overt attack against the actual true freedom fighters of Gaza, not the rapists and the murderers and the beheaders and the people who burn people alive and the attackers and the child kidnappers.
Oh fuck! Sorry guys. Fuck. This is going horribly, isn't it, folks?
Very sick. Very, very sick. But then focusing back on the pro-Palestine movement, then they took it a step further recently. And then we saw an actual overt attack against the actual true freedom fighters of Gaza, not the rapists and the murderers and the beheaders and the people who
the rapists and the murderers and the beheaders
burn people alive. And the attackers and the child kidnappers and the murderers and the evil Hamas guys. No. Those are not freedom fighters. Those are a bunch of guys with salaries. Those guys all have salaries. Being a Hamas terrorist is an actual salary, okay? So, no, the real freedom fighters who were literally protesting a terrorist, ISIS-like fascistic organization.
Bro, most Hamas fighters are young men who have lost their entire fucking families. I saw a video of a Hamas fighter, bro, fucking crying. And he was a teacher. And he said, the only reason I'm joining Hamas is because they killed my best friend. He was literally fucking crying, bro. You think these people want to do this? You know how many new Hamas members Israel just recruited by murdering all these fucking people? Murdering their parents, their sisters, their brothers? They just made Hamas 2.0.
While Israeli bombs were falling all around them, who were not getting paid for any of this, who were entirely organic, who, by the way, I've always believed, I've never once fomented those sentiments. They had to organically come from Gaza. And they've, like I said, they've always been there. Some of the pro-Israel people were like, well, these people are only protesting now because of the consequences
and someone
of the
said
war.
He mentioned
total BS.
He's saying so much shit. He mentioned a salary. So like, yeah, Hamas people are joining Hamas because of the pay, because of the career growth. Once you join Hamas, your career path is most likely fucking death by the IDF, bro. What the fuck kind of salary are you talking about, you dumb fuck? You fat, nasty fucking Shrek-like motherfucker.
Total hogwash. These people, there's always been, you know, societal, political, ideological, and religious opposition to Hamas in Gaza. It's just that now the group's behavior has just pushed people to the breaking point. So that's where
how do we support people in Gaza who are, as you say, the real freedom fighters?
Well,
the real freedom fighters. What's a real freedom fighter? Define a real freedom fighter, guys, please. I'm not understanding what is a real freedom fighter. Someone who just wants peace? Someone who just begs for what? What do they do? They've been doing it for years. They've not been violent. Has it helped? Has it worked? What do you want? What the fuck do you want, bro? This is maddening. What do you want?
I mean, we actually amplify the heck out of their actions and activities. We expose those who are opposing them, and literally, Ethan, just the reason why I was emphasizing the ironic unity, like shame the pro-Palestine people by telling them that you are in an indirect, because a lot of the pro-Israel people that follow me, because they love my anti-Hamas message, but they really are only interested in that, they're like, no, we don't believe them. These people are not insincere. This is Takia. They only want to stop the bomb.
Look at his fucking face, bro.
They don't love the Jews. They don't, and I'm like, you guys are so stupid.
Sorry, we got to do this. Ugh.
They want to stop the bombing. They don't.
Dan Ahmed sends $10. Hi, my twin sister Kenda now loves the show. I've been watching for 6+ months now. As a Palestinian, I want to ask, what do you do? Well, thank you so much. Sorry. Hi, my twin sister Kenda now loves the show. I've been watching for 6+ months now. As a Palestinian, I want to ask, what do you think is the main reason there is a growing marginal number of Palestinian betrayals? Well, thank you so much, Dana. We love you. And as a Palestinian, we love you extra. Palestinian betrayals, I guess it's just a grift. I don't know. I mean, look, there's going to be, not all Palestinians are a monolith. You know what I mean? Just like I say, not Lebanese people are a monolith. You have a lot of Lebanese people that support Hezbollah and the resistance. You have a lot of Lebanese people that don't support Hezbollah and the resistance, even Shia Lebanese people. So there's definitely going to be some Palestinian people who hate Hamas, who blame Hamas for everything. There's Lebanese people that blame Hezbollah for everything. Every time Israel does something to Lebanon, oh, it's probably Hezbollah's fault. Hezbollah must have done something to deserve it. You have some Lebanese Christians, extreme Christians, like the Kataib parties, the Lebanese Forces parties, the Uwait al-Libnaniya. They want the demise of Hezbollah. It's in their own interest for Hezbollah to go away. So you're always going to find people who disagree with the mainstream thoughts or the majority of the people. You're always going to have some outliers, and this guy might be one of those outliers. It might not even be related to money or that there's financial interest for him to say that, even though there clearly seems to be financial interest for him to say that. He might just be one of those outliers, and it's normal to expect that. Not everyone thinks the same way. Kelly Morales sends $2. Him and Ethan are going to make out after this. Or they're going to do a lot more than just make out. Ethan has found his soulmate with this.
Don't love the Jews. They don't, and I'm like, you guys are so stupid. There's a reason why a bunch of misbehaving, college students and undergrads have been able to beat Hasbara and the pro-Israel advocacy movement, because there is just such a blob of messaging when it's not a dynamic messaging. It doesn't humanize the Palestinian people. It doesn't acknowledge that the Palestinian people are diverse and not monolithic. Again, this is actually another point of convergence between the...
You see, yeah, he's just said it. I mean, of course, Palestinians are not going to be monolithic. You're going to have Palestinians that are going to protest Hamas, just like you have Lebanese people that protest Hezbollah. Bro, it's not this fucking... Why aren't they talking about the Hamas protests? Because, again, it's a drop in the bucket when compared to the actual issue at hand, the fucking genocide. The only reason Hamas exists is because of Israel, bro. It's because of the IDF, and it's because of the fucking oppression, my man.
A crazy pro-Israel and crazy pro-Palestine people is that there is an unwillingness to acknowledge that Gaza society, Palestinians in Gaza, they're not monolithic in how they see Hamas. And in fact, there's, as you opened so brilliantly at the beginning, I love how you open, there's totally a disconnect. And that's my raison d'etre. That's why I'm out there. That's why I deal with the threats, and I deal with the empanadas, and I deal with the Dalai Lamas, and I deal with the fools, and I deal with the attacks and whatever, because the people of Gaza are what sustains me. The people of Gaza are what give me hope. The people of Gaza are the actual folks who genuinely and sincerely make it worthwhile for me. And actually, I wanted to show you, I wanted to send you this tweet, and I hope you're able to...
Yeah, we can. Just send it to...
to put it...
Send it in the chat, and we can open it.
So I'm going to send you just two particular... This one here, I'm going to send it in the chat. This one is from a lady who is in Gaza. And then this one... So let's start with Nour, and you can do, if you can, I don't know if you can show it on the show, but you can. The first one is in Arabic, and you can just do the Google Translate.
I'm pulling this up here, and you should probably be able to see it.
Post.
So it's in Arabic. You guys can see by someone named Nour, and I'm going to translate it.
There you go.
Unable to fetch. Oh. Why is he doing that? Well, I can just put it into Google Translate too.
Yes, put it in Google Translate.
Yeah, let me do that.
And yeah, that's weird because on Twitter itself, for me, it translated right.
Oh, here I got. Yeah, okay, thank you. So here's the translation. Would you like me to read it?
Yes, please. I mean, yes, please.
So she says, I don't know if you received this information or not. We in Gaza hate anything called resistance and any resistance fighter. After this war, we guarantee you that there will be no form of resistance, even resistance songs. We will ban them.
After this war, we guarantee there will be no form of resistance, even resistance songs. We will ban them. The peace that will be in Gaza will shock you. There is no Gaza left, you lady. There's no Gaza left. What do you mean we want no resistance? I'm sure some people feel that way, bro, but the majority of people want some kind of resistance. No one wants to live like a fucking dog.
The peace that will be in Gaza will shock you, and we will produce generations that hate the marksmen and will step on the graves of Sinwar and the Daif.
Oh my God, bro. What is this brainwashed type of shit, man? So literally the enemy is Hamas. The enemy is the Palestinian. The Palestinians, again, have to look inward, deal with their problem, and then maybe the Israelis will grant them forgiveness and give them a little bit of land. That's what it's all about. That's the goal.
Wow.
So that is a sentiment that is so ubiquitous, that is so widespread. But since we're in the show, let's show the other tweet, please. So Issa Amru is a super famous anti-occupation, anti-settlement guy in the West Bank. And at a time when all of these pro-Palestine people in the West are celebrating the murder, saying, kill them all, the Yaron and everybody who's related to Israel, read what this guy who's literally daily being attacked by...
Bro, this guy reminds me of so many people that I know. And the fact that he's 35, like, he's such a little bitch. Like, he looks like an old man that, like, deserves your respect. He's not. He's my fucking age, bro. I can cock slap this motherfucker. He's so annoying. He's such a little brat. Like, he's an American little brat. He's not even Palestinian, bro. This guy's a white liberal. This guy's like a white fucking Anna Kasparian at this point. Dizzle McFizzle sends another $5. It's crazy how doing Hasbara rots your body and soul. Prime examples... Ethan and this dude. This guy, exactly. It translates physically eventually. The Based Bard has just become a member. Thank you for joining the Do Not Warriors Based Bard. Much appreciated. Thank you for the support.
Soldiers and by settlers. Read what he said.
He said, the murder of any human being should not be justified nor celebrated by anyone.
And this guy is literally, if you go to his profile, just really quickly, you can do it on your own leisure, you can do it now or whatever. It is full of he's an internationally recognized activist, and every day he gets terrorized by settlers who want to take over his house, and every day he gets attacked by them. The hilltop youth and the little ones and the big ones, and they're protected by the soldiers. And a few times the soldiers will come and push them away. Sometimes they'll beat him up. The soldiers will beat them up. The settlers. This guy has suffered so horrendously, and yet somehow, some way, he's able to be in the fulcrum of the military occupation of the Palestinian and the dehumanization, and I think the complete awful reality that some Palestinians in the West Bank face, and to say, guys, like, geez, like, what is wrong with you? Like, all of these, like, Western-based people saying, like, get them, kill those Zionist, representatives of the state, whatever. So that's...
Yeah, there's a video pinned on his profile. Today, February 13th, I was detained and beaten violently by an Israeli soldier in Hebron. I was showing the famous American writer Lawrence Wright.
Yeah,
the Israeli occupation.
What did I say about Anna? Anna is pro-Palestine, but like she's not pro anything else. She's at this point a Republican. You know what I mean? Hates trans people, hates homeless people. Just complains about Gavin Newsom all the time. What did I say? Did I say something about her not being pro-Palestine? Noxalto sends $2. The guy was born in Saudi Arabia. Let that sink in. And for all you Anna Kasparian fans, we're going to be watching episode 3 of Her Take tomorrow. They have Ann Coulter on. So if you love Anna Kasparian, tomorrow's the show for you. We got you with your Anna Kasparian dose of love.
Apartheid in my hometown. This video is very disturbing. I don't know if you've seen it.
And that's literally all of his like wall.
So this guy manages still to be a true peace activist despite facing violence on a daily basis.
But also to like, when did we lose the ability to say random acts of violence are not okay? Random killings are not okay.
They need asterisks. Everything needs an asterisk, right?
Unless they're Zionists, and unless they work for the Zionist regime, and unless they're but that's what I'm saying is like, this is such a scary because I genuinely because I'm like, imagine a situation where this becomes the actual norm, where political violence in the United States or in Europe or in the Western world, and this is why it is difficult for me and to like realign for Palestine and my.
Bro, he's so immature the way he moves. Like this is why he's like a giant baby, bro. He's like a fucking baby.
Website, my organization, to draw out the Palestinian pragmatists and moderates. A lot of them, they have families. A lot of them have businesses. Some of them started writing things and then they.
That's what a genocide needs: pragmatism and moderation. You need to be a moderate. You need to be in the middle. You need to play both sides. Oh, well, I mean, the genocide is bad, but I mean, were the Palestinians asking for it in a way? That's what this guy's basically saying.
Getting threats on like social media, and they're like, "Oh, Ahmed, I'm sorry, I can't do this." Like, I have my wife. I have to, like, and again, like, not everybody can acquire the means and the necessary tools to protect themselves, which I'm very, very well adept at using, and I'm not going to be afraid, and I'm not going to, curl up in a corner and be like, "Oh, mommy, I'm afraid." Like, I don't know. Like, I'm right here. I put my name. I put my face. I'm out there. I take precautions. I'm not cocky, but like, like what happened to these embassy staff is the same kind of political violence that the Hamasniks and the terrorists and the Muslim Brotherhood people, they want to normalize against people like myself for challenging Hamas's narrative. And the people who send you, skulls, human skulls, and that kind of garbage.
Oh my God, bro. He's bringing in the human skulls and the CPS. That's just fucking trolling, bro, because Ethan talked about his kids having giardia. Oh my God, bro. This guy's so fucking dramatic. This is all music to Ethan's ears right now.
Like, this is the slippery slope that we're headed down. And this is like it takes someone from the West Bank facing horror to say, hey guys, like, can we please, stop and not normalize it?
Yeah, I'd love to see someone like Hassan talk to someone like that, but I just don't think that, again, it's not what's going to drive Twitch primes to him.
Well, so my question to you then is, I mean,
Twitch Prime. So Ethan thinks Hassan is only defending Palestine to make. And I get accused of this all the time on Twitter. You're just talking about Gaza to make money. You're making money off the genocide. How, bro? How? I'm just talking about my people. I want to represent my people. I see people like Ethan and channels like H3 with millions of fucking views spreading this kind of dangerous fucking propaganda. I got to do my best to fucking defend my fucking people, yo. Haley D sends $5. I don't want Palestinians to be told what to do. I want them to be able to tell us what they want to do. Exactly. And this guy seems to think that they already have all the self-determination they had and that they have every right in the world, even though they had no fucking rights. The Abraham Accords take nothing of the Palestinian side into account or consideration, gives them no voice. And I don't want this kind of Palestinian to tell me what to do, though. This guy's fucking horrible. Kelly Morales sends $2. All jokes aside, this is so dangerous to platform. It is. Everything Ethan's been doing is dangerous to platform. This is why, I mean, I have a tiny fucking little channel. I have no reach, but we got to try to do what we can. You know what I mean? We got to try to do what we can. What else can we do? Good thing Bad Empanada is on this, all these bigger channels.
What do you think? I'm curious what you think, because I don't consider myself or call myself an influencer. I'm a writer, analyst, commentator. I'm an advocate. I'm not, there's there's activism, there's advocacy, and then there's policy. And advocacy is somewhere in between policy and activism, where you have to interface with both communities. But do you think over the years, I mean, why is it that a streaming but for the record, I'm not just speaking about your former colleague. I'm speaking generally. Why is it that we're in a place right now where a bunch of online streamers and podcasters and whatever, with no real understanding or link to the land or to the issue, are going to develop opinions that we're supposed to care about and are going to tell everybody this is what time it is, and then are going to start attacking people like you for retweeting me and saying,
well, thank you, because what the fuck does Ethan Klein, what connection does he have to Israel? Because he lived there for 5 years? He's a white guy from fucking Los Angeles. Okay, his wife is Israeli. He has no fucking connection to the land, bro. He's fucking spending all the time, all this fucking time on his podcast spreading dangerous propaganda. I am from the land. I'm from fucking Lebanon. I get bombed by Israel every single fucking day. They bombed us yesterday. They bombed us the day before yesterday. They bombed us 3 days ago. They bombed Nabatiyeh. Shuelak ma'ere ya khara. And Hassan is from fucking, he's a news fucking commentator, bro. He's a news broadcaster. Are news broadcasters not allowed to fucking talk about the fucking news? Okay? Are we not allowed to talk about the fucking news, dumb fuck? Kenda Sufyan sends $2. Marhaba, please give regards to your cat, Maki. Say thank you for the $2. Tell Kenda Sufyan thank you. He says thank you, Kenda. Thank you so much, Kenda. Thank you for the support, everybody.
You're promoting genocide for retweeting Gaza. How did we get here?
I think there's...
And the two of us lived in Israel, and they still dare to tell Ethan, for example, that he doesn't know what he's talking about, even though he lived there for 5 years.
Talking about my empirical...
I'm from there.
And I'm from there. I was born in Israel. That was my family. We are Arab Israelis. My parents are from Libya, but I mean, I didn't know Arabs could also be colonizers. You know what I mean? I thought because I'm Arab, it's okay for me to be in Israel. I mean, the Arabs kicked us out of our country. We had to come to Israel, and we just stole someone's land. Isn't that okay? One for one. Don't two wrongs make a right? Oh, look at that fucking face.
Illa, by the way, you're not visible. I wish I would see you.
It's just I think Dan can switch.
Fucking creep. Ela, you're not visible. I wish I could see you, Ela. Let's hear that again. Fucking freak.
Yeah, talking about my empirical...
I'm from there.
I think...
Ella, by the way, you're not visible. I wish I would see you.
I think Dan can switch. Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
When she talks, then we'll switch to her.
Yes. Let's switch to her because I don't want you to be. Hi, nice to see you.
It's nice to see you. It's been so amazing to listen to you so far. It's something that I've been craving to hear for so long from anybody. And
I'm just so happy that the Palestinian is saying that the Palestinians also share the blame. It's good to know. It's good to know. I'm not the only one who thinks that it is not the IDF's fault. When I raided that house in Ramallah, it is because the man who I raided did not look inward. Ahmed, Fouad AlKhatib. That is the problem. He did not look inward. That when I went in to raid the house, he deserved it. And if we both just held hands and said, how can we work together to make it better, as he was handcuffed, we could have solved the problem. But no. If only he held my hand as he was handcuffed and as his children and wife were crying in the corner of the house, we could have solved it. Thank you for saying all of these things. It is in both of our hands. It is not in the oppressor's hands. It is not Israel that holds all the power. It is the two of us. And the Palestinians must also accept responsibility for the bunker busters we are dropping on their fucking heads.
It's just like it went straight into my heart, everything you said.
Well, and I want to just acknowledge that you're also like, yeah, you're from Israel. You have family there. Like, you know, you're like, you have a right to speak about this. Like, this impacts you, and this impacts your family, your folks, and where you're from. But it's like,
bitch, she killed your family. She killed your family, you stupid fuck. You out here being like, yeah, you have every right to be. You stupid fuck. Atlit like ailtak ya kiss. Shubek ya Uncle Tom whitewashing Israel's crimes, saying that Palestinians should look inward, basically saying that they deserve what they're getting, saying that this is half of their fault when they're the fucking oppressed. You nasty, fat, bald, fucking ogre-looking motherfucker, 35-year-old piece of shit. You look 55, bro, on a fucking good day, man. What the fuck is this?
why is it that I'm supposed to care what a bunch of streamers and podcasters?
So I think there's like a whole vortex of bad things happening. One, people are super disillusioned with like the media, so that nobody wants to get their news from the media. That's where suckers get their news. Also, like, we're at a point in American society when capitalism is really not at its finest hour. There's huge disparities, and a lot of people feel helpless, right? And they don't see positive outcomes coming in the status quo. And I think a lot of people, leftist ideology, socialism, communism, Marxism, whatever, is becoming popular. And in this worldview, it's very much oppressor, oppressee. I mean, I know that's almost become like a talking point, but it's genuinely just the truth, is that they see, the worldview doesn't allow them to see complications. They'll look you in the face and say, what's happening in Israel is not complicated. Israel's the bad guy.
Island Life is saying, I might stop watching if you keep up appearance shaming. You're better than this. Island Life, I'm sorry to tell you, I'm pissed off. And this guy is hideous looking. And we don't talk about looks normally, but if you're going to sit here and fucking rationalize Israel's actions against Palestinians, show me that ogre again. Where's that fat, nasty motherfucking
Hamas
bald
is
piece
the
of
good
shit?
guys.
So I can make fun of his looks a little bit more, just to make Island Life extra happy. And again, I'm sorry, Island Life, but when it comes to literally rationalizing what the enemy is doing and selling out your own people for some fucking Pentagon grants, oh, you're getting a lot more than fucking physical shaming here. He is a monster.
Capable of doing that because in their worldview, there's the colonizer and there's the colonized, and it's up to the colonizers, the colonized, to kill, take over, resist the colonizers.
Ain't no time for being nice here. Okay, you got literal Israelis bombing children. Okay, I'm gonna make fun of how a guy looks for 5 minutes and make myself feel a little bit better.
And there's just a really, I think that the amount of these people I hope to God that it's somewhat exaggerated because of how we perceive them. I mean,
Kenda Sufyan sends another $2 and says he bald because his body rejected what he's saying. By the way, love for our bald brothers. He's not even bald because he's balding. He's bald by choice. He shaved his own head, so it's not like I'm making fun of bald people. It's literally his choice.
Twitter and TikTok and online, you see Hassan, who's become like, was the #1 political streamer until recently, but there's just a whole vortex of terrible conditions that's kind of making.
Talk about the #1 political streamer. Talk about Asmongold. The fact that he's a fucking fan of yours now, and he's a fucking actual Nazi. Asmongold, you know what I mean? He actually fucking hates Arabs. He actually thinks they're disgusting, and he said Palestinians have inferior culture and they deserve to be genocided. That's who Ethan likes over Hassan Piker, bro.
Scrambling people's brains. It's just. And I mean, obviously, there's a lot of like introspection to go on there. I mean, like our government, our capital. I am a social democrat. I believe capitalism is a good system, but the way it's working right now is dysfunctional, and it's not working. And so the people are feeling hopeless. And I think that's when you get these kinds of radical ideologies and these people who are just so disillusioned that they're willing to kill.
I love that people are disillusioned as they're fucking paying $100,000 a year.
Well, that's the ironic part, right?
That go to Columbia and Harvard.
The true irony,
as they're making millions from streaming.
Yeah. Well, that's the irony, right? And I feel like this is kind of common within
millions. Listen,
communist
bro,
revolution.
There's like 2 streamers that make millions off of streaming. Hassan does pretty well for himself. You know, Asmongold does pretty well for himself. Political streamers. What do you think we out here making? Okay, you think we out here making bank? Okay. Ain't nobody fucking making millions out here. Ain't nobody making millions out here.
Too is that it's the bourgeoisie who you know, LARP as the proletariat and lead them, tells them how to feel and what they need to do. And
Island Life is back in the chat being like, I just imagine a kind-hearted pro-Palestinian who looks like this guy watching the stream. How bad would they feel? Making fun of looks can hurt people other than who he is targeted. Island Life, I get what you're saying, okay? And you're being sweet for saying that. And I know we normally should not make fun of people's looks. I completely agree with you. I'm just having some fun, okay? Because the guy is fucking hideous and he's a piece of shit. And as long as a good pro-Palestinian person doesn't think like this man, that's it. They're already beautiful. I could have looked at this man. It's this man's insides that made his outside look ugly. You know what I mean? Shrek is ugly on paper, but I love Shrek. Shrek is beautiful because his insides are beautiful. This man is disgusting on the inside, so it reflects on the outside.
They become the thought leaders to the proletariat, and it's almost like a sick joke. It's true. You see the people on the campus of Columbia, like you said, we're paying $100,000 a year because they come from like a multi-million-dollar you know, family led. Yeah, exactly. And they're the ones that are the most convicted about it.
Yeah.
I think there's also something else. I think there's a lot of generational guilt with what happened in Iraq and how America's conducted itself since 9/11. And I think there's a huge overreaction.
Bro, you should love the fact that young college students are motivated and are angry and want to fight and stand up for what's right. You know what I mean? The fact that they try to make them seem like, oh, they're just these rich kids who just want to feel like they... No, bro. When you're young, when you're 18, that's like when you're at the height of your fucking liberalism and you're just discovering the world and you're fucking discovering society and you're like, you want to make a difference in the fucking world, and that's when you're excited. You're not cynical yet. You haven't graduated. You're not necessarily working full-time yet. Life hasn't slapped you in the fucking face and given you a reality check. So... young kids stand up for what's right, and that's fucking awesome. That's why university students are great. You know what I mean?
To that, or overreaction. Who can say, right? But I think there is a large influence on young people's minds who grew up learning like this was a terrible thing that we did. Millions of civilians died. It was all a lie. And it's become like American unexceptionalism. It used to be American exceptionalism. Now it's everything in America is bad. It can't be salvaged. It's the worst. It's whatever it is. If it's American.
Well, American exceptionalism is a fucking dumbass concept. And when people talk about America's better than it's like, it's such a selfish and dumb American thing to be like, American exceptionalism. We really are the greatest. No, you're not the best. You're not the best at most fucking things. Look at your education levels compared to the rest of the world, nutrition, all that sort of shit. It's just a fucking fantasy that you sell yourselves to justify you policing the rest of the world and you bombing the rest of the world, being like, you need to be more like America and wear blue jeans and drink Coca-Cola. No, fuck that shit.
It's the worst. It's unsalvageable, and we hate it. And these are people who are coming up from affluent families, and I think it's them feeling generational guilt for what America has done since 9/11. And like again, that's an understandable feeling and perspective. But I think it's dangerous when a bunch of young people who have no life experience and no frankly actual perspective get so convicted by things that it draws them to radical behavior. And
it's so dangerous when young people see a genocide on their phones, they see kids being murdered, for them to think that that's wrong and for them to stand up for what's right. Yeah, that's so fucking dangerous. Calling out Israel for its atrocities is so dangerous. The only reason Ethan is saying that is because he's Israeli. His wife is Israeli. That's it. They're stuck. They're fucking stuck being the villains. And now they're teaming up with all the YouTube fucking villains. And they have the fucking shittiest audience. They have the incel anti-IDubs fucking audience on YouTube. Congratulations. Congratulations. That's what being an Israeli Zionist gets you on YouTube. You guys are fucking blacklisted from everything. Try doing a collaboration. See who's going to want to work with you guys.
I think that's just what's happening, unfortunately.
Well, and to tie it all together, like just to clarify, because I'm sure some are going to look at this conversation we're having and they're going to be like, well, you haven't said anything about the horror in Gaza and whatever. Like, of course we're horrified by what's taking place in Gaza. Of course we don't want the children starving. And like, of course I care deeply about saving what remains of my family members. I lost the 2 childhood homes I grew up in. Our family lost everything, just like the rest of Gaza mostly has lost everything. The point is, number one, how can you be a good advocate and a good custodian of this cause in the Western diaspora, in the world, so that you're not making it radioactive and toxic and pushing people away? And I would say this to kids, and they were like, you know, especially in Colombia, Students for Justice in Palestine. And they were like, well, first, they blocked me. Second of all, they're like, we are not in the business of making our cause palatable to Zionists.
Yeah, I hear that.
Like, they don't want to make it palatable. And I'm like, okay, so you're just going to make it tolerable then only to a bunch of lunatics in your like field? Like who are—
Bro, fuck this guy. Fuck, he's kind of like AB. You got to make the Zionists comfortable. You have to make them comfortable. No, bro, it's time to make them uncomfortable. They've been way too comfortable committing a fucking genocide live on fucking TV, bro, on the fucking internet. We've all been fucking watching it, a live stream fucking genocide. It is because they're comfortable. It is because they don't give a fuck. It's time to be fucking angry. It's time to fucking yell and demand for our fucking rights, bro. I was asking AB a couple of videos ago, when is it a good time for an Arab to be angry? When is it the right time to show some fucking emotion for what's fucking happening in the world, bro? No, you don't want to scare away the moderate Zionists. Bro, they want to take the fucking land. They want to take Lebanon. They want to take fucking Syria. There are no moderate fucking Zionists, bro. They're all fucking psychotic pieces of shit. And you're fucking playing cover to them, you fucking Shrek motherfucker.
Are you going to appeal to?
Exactly. What is the end goal?
It's way worse than that, because all they do is empower people like fascist elements, conservative, fascist, right-wing elements that hate brown people, that hate immigrants, that fucking do whatever the fuck they want. And it's like, it's just so self-defeating. And
it is like you said, it's just pushing people away. Like, Ethan and I are totally on board. Like, we want to figure it out. We want free Palestine. We want all those things. And they're pushing us away.
No, don't say free Palestine, Ela. If you say free Palestine, it's like you're saying from the river to the sea. You want to kill the Jews, don't you? You want a free Palestine? Did you ever fucking talk about the genocide? You spent the whole episode talking about the Bibas kids. You spent the whole episode talking about the DC shootings. When's the last time you talked about some of the people that were butchered in Palestine, huh?
Like, we are the devil. Like, you should see how they talk about us.
I'm sure.
You are the devil, bro, at this point.
Just pushing people away. Like, Ethan and I are totally on board. Like, we want to figure it out. We want free Palestine. We want all those things. And they're pushing us away like we are the devil. Like, you should see how they talk about us.
I'm sure he gets it just as bad.
And you get it too.
You guys are pieces of shit, bro. I want the free Palestine. I want the Black Lives Matter. It's not a fucking slogan. The Based Bard sends $5. At first, I was going to say, don't body shame kind of comment too, but I do get it with this guy because it's so infuriating how much he hates his own people. Exactly. We're against body shaming here, folks. We love everybody. But if you're a piece of shit, I'm going to call you ugly. It's just how it goes. Let's keep watching.
I have no doubt.
So what is the end goal? What are they actually working towards? I don't understand.
I mean, it's like, but the other thing too, it's like this is what I said.
This guy stutters hilarious. And now don't tell me, don't make fun of his stutter. I'm gonna make fun of his stutter.
Understand?
I mean, it's like, but the other thing too, it's like
the other thing too.
This is what I said, remember? There's activism, there's advocacy, and then there's policy. A lot of times, policy makers are so far removed from the messaging of advocates and the community and activists and advocates. Advocates, however, are uniquely positioned where you kind of graduate from being an advocate, an activist that just yells and screams and says things that feel good, to actually caring about being pragmatic, actually caring about achieving things, because you're an interlocutor between the policy guys up here and the activists. And I'm not saying activists are the bottom of the ladder. I'm talking about the ladder, the bottom of the power of the ladder from a societal point of view. I'm simply talking about the ladder of power and access, influence, and change. From my perspective, advocates are somewhere in the middle, and the state of advocacy right now for the Palestinian people. I mean, how about the fact that if you're Jewish or pro-Israel or self-identifying as Zionist, you have a spectrum of organizations and things to be
self-identifying as Zionist. What is it? A fucking gender preference?
Advocacy right now for the Palestinian people. I mean, how about the fact that if you're Jewish or pro-Israel or self-identifying as Zionist, you have a spectrum of organizations and things to be a part of. You have J Street, you have Israel Policy Forum, you have AIPAC, you have the ADL, you have AJC, you have the Jewish Community Centers, you have the Jewish Federations, you have the Zionist Organization of America and the World Zionist Congress, and you have the Jewish National Fund and Jaffe and all this infrastructure. If you're, Arab, Muslim, Palestinian, and you want to express sentiments of support for the Palestinian people and channel your energies and have that be harnessed in a constructive, meaningful way, basically at a national level, all you have is Students for Justice in Palestine, much of which I think has devolved to just be a complete disaster. Or you have CARE, which is Muslim Brotherhood adjacent. That's basically your two options.
Was he saying Jewish voices? No, he's
in a constructive, meaningful way. Basically, at a national level, all you have is Students for Justice in Palestine, much of which I think has devolved to just be a complete disaster. Or you have CARE, which is Muslim Brotherhood.
A disaster because the police and the government wanted to fucking stop protests on campus, bro. Like, what is he talking about? An APAC, bro. Israel
Jason,
lobby.
That's basically your two options. Is, you know, Students for Justice in Palestine that supports armed resistance as an option, or CARE.
Jimmy Catrone sends $5. Had to send this out of hate for this creep. Well, thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for your hate for this creep is supporting our channel, so we love you. Mandy also sends $5 and says, if you're a sellout, we shame you. On a real note, love this channel, new favorite channel. Well, that's fucking awesome, Mandy. Welcome to the channel. We're happy to have you. Sorry, this stream has been having some technical difficulties. Story of my life lately. But we're doing another episode tomorrow. I'm going to be with Nour and maybe Karine. We are reacting to an episode of her take. It's going to be fun. No Ethan Klein. Nice little break. And Coulter is on. They're going to be discussing some hot topics. So it's going to be cringy. It's going to be fun. And another live stream on Wednesday reacting to an iDubbbz hate video to defend iDubbbz, of course. We love you all so much for supporting us. Thank you. And we hope to see you guys for the rest of the week.
Not very compelling. And then it devolves into this permanent, like, well, look at the Jews and they have APAC and they control the Congress and they control the policies and they control this and that. And
look at the way he says that. He says that as if it's not true. Well, look at the Jews. They have APAC and they have this and that. Yeah, they fucking do, bro. What are you saying, you fucker? You fat, nasty fuck?
Or CARE. Not very compelling. And then it devolves into this permanent, like, well, look at the Jews and they have APAC and they control the Congress and they control the policies and they control this and that. And it's like, wait, last time I checked, Palestinians and Arabs and Muslims in the United States, cumulatively, are some of the most, I would argue, successful minorities in the United States, professionally, academically, and otherwise. Why hasn't there been, over the decades, any meaningful attempt at building either one piece of infrastructure or multiple pieces of infrastructure through which you vector young people's energies, through which you
why
teach?
is that? Why do you think
why
that
is that?
I mean, I have multiple theories about that. I'm in DC. I speak to people. I try to fundraise. I try to do this. Honestly, I think some of it is.
I mean, there's got to be. That's a decent question. I don't know enough about it to speak about it. I'm sure there's some kind of fucking conspiracy, you know what I mean, stopping it. But also, Arabs are kind of shit at working together. Not going to lie. Arabs don't have the Palestinians' backs. Like, I'm not going to be one to fucking say it. Saudi Arabia doesn't care. The UAE doesn't care. Egypt doesn't care. Jordan doesn't care. You know who cares? Hezbollah in Lebanon and Yemen. That's it. The Houthis and Hezbollah. That's it. No one else gives a fuck. The people care. Like the Saudi government, like MBS, doesn't give a shit about Palestine. But the Saudi people, they fucking do not fuck with what's happening in Palestine right now. They fucking love the Palestinian people. And they are very much against normalizing relations with Israel. That's why MBS hasn't done it yet. He's too scared to do it. So the Arab people are very much for Palestine. It's the fucking leaders are so corrupt. They're so weak. They're so easily fucking purchased. You know what I mean? And the West has fucked up our country so much that then they extend a helping hand. Like, hey, you want some money? You want some grants? You want some weapons? And they're more than happy to fucking lick their assholes and take it. So the people care, but the governments don't give a fuck.
Just petty communal divisions. I think some of it is genuine ignorance of the fact that, like, there's so many people who like I talked to some folks in Silicon Valley or some folks in LA about trying to build up infrastructure here in DC to advocate for Palestinian rights in a sophisticated manner that can actually build infrastructure and harness some energies beyond the, like, free Palestine, and without the stupid, you know, let's cover up with a kafia and do revolution and intifada, like, to actually be sophisticated so that we have a greater chance of being heard and being influential. And one guy, like, didn't know what think tanks were. The other guy was like, he just kept bringing it back to
good
how
point.
the Jews.
What was this guy saying about CARE? AB's dad is like the head of CARE. He's like a huge deal at CARE. This guy was just talking about CARE. What did he say about it? He's like, all we have left is CARE and the thing Students for Palestine. Was he kind of shitting on CARE indirectly? Is that what he was saying? So AB's too much of a coward to even defend that his dad works at CARE. Oh, he called CARE Hamas. He called CARE Hamas? Oh my god, I completely missed that, bro. He literally called CARE Hamas, and AB's dad works at fucking CARE, bro. Oh my god, bro. Yeah, AB, don't speak up. Don't speak up, AB. Don't say anything. Enjoying the job?
Everything, and, like, no matter what we do, the Jews will not. And these are, like, this dude, gentleman was like, a multi-millionaire. And he was like interested, and he was telling me how he was disturbed by some of the messaging from college activists and campuses.
That's so funny. He said it's. I'm gonna go back. It's 322:49. Let me just go back to. Do you guys remember where it was? He was talking about the universities, and I'm not gonna find it.
And how harmful he thought. So then the other thing is, like, there were a few attempts at being pragmatic.
So he said, CARE is Muslim Brotherhood adjacent. That's insane. If someone can get me the time code where he says that, I'll go back and see it.
There's something called the American Task Force on Palestine. And they were ruthlessly mauled by the community as being sellouts, and Rashid Khalidi was very much so part of the effort to try to take them down, to try to undermine them, to try to push.
Who were they? What was it?
It was basically an effort to try to have dialogue and communication with the Jewish community, but also to engage the Bush administration, Condoleezza Rice, to work within the U.S. system, both the executive and the legislative, but especially the executive. Again, in an elegant, sophisticated way that could also act as an arm of, like, for the Palestinian Authority and the Palestinian National Project in the United States, but to do so, again, and I hate to use the word overuse the word sophisticated. It is not to, I'm not saying it in an elitist sense per se. I'm simply saying sophisticated as in not the trash we're seeing on, like, the street at college
Not
campus.
the black and white.
Like, not the black and white, not the, like, revolution, intifada, like, we're gonna all, in this, like, cartoonish villain imagery that we see. Centers. You have the Jewish Federations, you have the Zionist Organization of America and the World Zionist Congress, and you have the Jewish National Fund and Jaffe and all this infrastructure. If you're, Arab, Muslim, Palestinian, and you want to express sentiments of support for the Palestinian people and channel your energies and have that be harnessed in a constructive, meaningful way, basically at a national level, all you have is Students for Justice in Palestine, much of which I think has devolved to just be a complete disaster. Or you have CARE, which is Muslim Brotherhood adjacent. That's basically your...
Oh my God, bro. Sorry, guys, I missed it. Muslim Brotherhood. I missed that he said CARE. And that's where AB's dad fucking works. And AB had his dad on his live stream and had him talking about, like, what he thinks about Palestine. And then Ethan was like, AB, I saw your dad on your stream and he's such a good guy, such a smart guy. We need more people like him. And now this fucking guy is calling AB's dad Muslim Brotherhood adjacent. Which is it, Ethan? Which kind of Arab do you like? What kind of resistance is okay, Ethan? Huh? Crazy, bro.
Two options is, Students for Justice in Palestine that supports armed resistance as an option, or CARE. Not very compelling. And then
what a piece of shit.
Like, the college
Not
campus.
the black and white.
Like, not the black and white, not the, like, revolution, intifada, like, we're gonna all, in this, like, cartoonish villain imagery that we see. No, like, our people are proud, like, show our faces. We're here, we're gonna be dressed up, we're gonna sit down with policymakers.
They hide their faces so that their families don't get fucking butchered, you stupid fucker. They're not wearing masks for fun. They're wearing masks to protect their fucking identities, protect their fucking families. Ya Ahmed, go fucking fight, you fat little piggy. Sorry, guys, sorry, I shouldn't call them a piggy. That was oink oink.
Not the black and white.
Like, not the black and white, not the, like, revolution, intifada, like, we're gonna all, in this, like,
I want to see what they're saying. What does he mean about this not masked?
It is not to, I'm not saying it in an elitist sense per se. I'm simply saying sophisticated as in not the trash we're seeing on, like, the street at college
Not
campuses.
the black and white.
The trash we're seeing on college campuses. Not like the trash that we're seeing on... Please elaborate on what do you mean by trash?
Not the black and white, not the, like, revolution, intifada, like, we're gonna all, in this, like, cartoonish villain imagery that we see. No, like, our people are proud, like, show our faces.
Cartoonish villain?
Revolution, intifada, like, we're gonna all, in this, like, cartoonish villain imagery that we see.
Yeah, and Eli's more than happy, like, yeah, of course, a kafaya. I forgot the kafaya, that is evil. You wear it is cartoonish evil, everybody knows what it means. Well, what the fuck?
Like, our people are proud, like, show our faces. We're here, we're gonna be dressed up, we're gonna sit down with policymakers, and we're gonna talk about how we can work with the Jewish community.
Yes, we need to be palatable, folks. We have to wear a suit, we have to wear a tie, we have to be nice, respectable Arabs, so that the world doesn't look at us as barbaric animals, and then they look at us as human beings. We need to dress like them. Dress like the oppressor, you know what I mean? To not be oppressed.
And this is even before, JVP was even a thing. Jewish Force for Peace and some of these leftist spaces. And but that was seen as a bridge too far for a lot of even for a lot of academics and a lot of even the business people in the Palestinian community. But that was like, it started falling apart in 2006 to 2008. But that's the problem with our community, is the emotionality. It's the lack of true vision, the lack of, like, I've had people in other think tanks that talked about trying to get wealthy Arabs and wealthy Palestinians to invest in DC fellowships for young Palestinian professionals to learn about how does Congress work, how does the executive branch work, like to be involved, you know, in Washington, be here, go to the State Department.
You need money, bro. AIPAC doesn't necessarily need to understand how Congress works. They got fucking unlimited money. You need money. You need to line the pockets of politicians, and maybe then they'll care about a genocide. You know what I mean? As AIPAC is stuffing millions in one pocket, like, hey, don't mind the genocide. It's fine. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. Keep killing. Maybe then, you know, the opposite side needs to stuff more money in the other pocket. Like, hey, how about you stop the genocide, huh? What do you want, bro?
Go, and that does happen, but that's individual family members who encourage their kids. That's not a lot of communal push and effort to say we're going to do this as a community, as part of a sophisticated infrastructure that harnesses our resources, our know-how, and that, honestly, quite frankly, I think even if you were to do the aforementioned, then you're going to inevitably hit the messaging wall. What is the messaging wall? It's twofold. Can you work with Zionists? Can you accept working with Zionists and the mainstream Jewish organizations and Jewish community as allies, prospective allies, or even as a necessary evil, quote unquote? And the second piece is, what are you advocating for? Like two states, okay. How is a Palestinian state going to be framed in a way that's advantageous to U.S. interests? How is a Palestinian state not going to be a platform for Hamas's terrorism? How's a Palestinian state not going to be sabotaged by the Iranian meddling? Iran every day.
I was not listening to this fucking guy anymore, bro. Let's go back 30 seconds. Sorry. What was he saying?
Our resources, our know-how, and that, honestly, quite frankly, I think even if you were to do the aforementioned, then you're going to inevitably hit the messaging wall. What is the messaging wall? It's twofold. Can you work with Zionists? Can you accept working with Zionists and the mainstream Jewish organizations and Jewish community as allies, prospective allies, or even as a necessary?
Can you work with Nazis? Ask a Jewish person. Can you work with a Nazi, you know what I mean, as an ally, as a potential ally, to try to fix the situation you have? Can you work with a Nazi? If you could ask, can you work with a Zionist? You better be able to ask, can you work with a Nazi? You stupid fuck.
Very evil, quote unquote. And the second piece is.
What did you say, evil? What?
Or even as a necessary evil, quote unquote.
The way, bro, I fucking hate as a necessary evil, quote unquote. This guy is disgusting. You fucking sellout, nasty. Look again. I didn't have to do anything. Look at his face. Look at this nasty fucking face, bro. He's making me want to become an IDF soldier. I'm kidding, folks. I'm kidding. I'm definitely kidding. I kid. I would never want to become an IDF soldier. But look. He's disgusting.
The second piece is allies and Jewish community as allies, prospective allies, or even as a necessary evil, quote unquote. And the second piece is, what are you advocating for? Like two states, okay. How is a Palestinian state going to be framed in a way that's advantageous to U.S. interests? How is a Palestinian state not going to be a platform for Hamas's terrorism? How is a Palestinian state not going to be sabotaged by the Iranian meddling? Iran every day, Palestinian security.
He's putting all of the onus, he's putting everything on the Palestinians. How are you going to prove that the Palestinian state is going to do this? How are you going to prove that they're not going to be Hamas? How do you prove that they're not going to be a part of Iran? It's like, bro, what about Israel's part in all of this? He's ignoring Israel's responsibility in this whole fucking thing. He's washing their hands clean from the whole thing.
Advantageous to U.S. interests. How is a Palestinian state not going to be a platform for Hamas's terrorism? How is a Palestinian state not going to be sabotaged by the Iranian meddling? Iran, every day, Palestinian security forces in the West Bank, they foil attempts by the Islamic Republic of Iran to send money, to send guns, to send, and I've seen, I have the receipts. I know the people who are involved in these efforts. Like, it does happen on a daily basis. Numerous plots are foiled.
That's another thing that I never see anybody here talk about, is the involvement of Iran and the funding.
Oh, completely. I mean,
Wait, why didn't I go back?
Mainstream Jewish organizations and Jewish community as allies. The second piece is
Charlie Kelly sends $5. Thank you so much, Charlie. Looking traitor, freeze frame, scared the fuck out of me. I know. This guy's fucking terrifying looking. He looks I don't want to call him a rat because that is stuff that they use to dehumanize Palestinians. Even though, I mean, I would say more of a Shrek. You know what I'm saying? I've been called a rat by Ethan Klein, by the way, folks. Ethan has called me a rat. I have the distinction of being called that.
What are you advocating for? Two states, okay. How is a Palestinian state going to be framed in a way that's advantageous to U.S. interests?
How's it going to be framed? Listen, you hear that? How's the Palestinian state going to be framed in a way that's advantageous to U.S. institutions? Is that what fucking matters to you, bro? How are you going to frame the Palestinian state in a way that won't scare off the Americans and in a way that is advantageous to them? How about the fucking Palestinian people and what is advantageous to them? Your fucking people. Why am I talking like this about your fucking people, bro?
The Palestinian state not going to be a platform for Hamas's terrorism? How's a Palestinian state not going to be sabotaged by the Iranian meddling? Iran, every day, Palestinian security forces in the West Bank, they foil attempts by the Islamic Republic of Iran to send money, to send guns, to and I've seen, I have the receipts. I know the people who are involved in these efforts. Like, it does happen on a daily basis. Numerous plots are foiled.
That's another thing that I never see anybody here talk about, is the
numerous plots are foiled, bro. Be thankful for the weapons you're fucking getting, bro. Freya Coulter sends £5 and says, take him back to Gaza, see if he still wants to work with Zionists after a few months. Exactly. He's a man who should be taken back to Gaza. He should go see what it's like and then tell me how great the Israelis are and if he wants to work with Zionists. Are you willing to work with Zionists? Are you willing to work with fucking Nazis? Bro, go ask a Jewish person if they work with a fucking Nazi. You fucking lowlife.
Involvement of Iran and the funding.
Oh, completely. I mean, there is never going to be a free, stable Palestine while the Ayatollah's regime is still standing.
Yeah, there's a malicious, invisible hand pushing, Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis to, conflict, right? And it's...
But are you going to talk about that?
Come on.
Do we have a cohesive Palestinian body or several bodies against Palestinian American and Arab American and Muslim American bodies that aren't cut off all funding to Israel because we know in the near term that's not really a feasible, even if you disagree with it, you can withhold some particular aid packages or whatever, but overall, you need to be defined by what you stand for. Not just what you're against.
Right.
Of course, we're against the Israeli military occupation. But is the occupation all of Israel, or is the occupation the 1967 borders? What are we going to do about,
Wait, what?
Of Israel, or is the occupation military occupation? But is the occupation all of Israel, or is the occupation the 1967 borders?
Why not all of Israel? Why are you using that tone? Is it all of Israel? Why is he talking like a fucking child, like a little, or like patronizing like a children?
What are we going to do about the settlements? Can we normalize the idea that Palestine will live side by side next to a safe and secure Israel? Make that a talking point in the Palestinian community, in the diaspora, and build power in DC and in the business community, and bring the totality of that to Washington. And I think you got yourself a very compelling piece of infrastructure. Instead, we're not only divided.
So this man thinks that just go ask the people in Washington, D.C. nicely, hey, the Palestinians are willing to live next to the Jewish settlements in Israel. Please, can we be okay? Can you stop the genocide? We got a request by Steely Dang, $5 to ask you to pet the spot your kitty is cleaning to see the response. What was he cleaning? Well, I can't remember what area he was cleaning. His thigh, right? He was licking his thigh. Let's go see what happens. Let's keep this guy playing.
But we're reliant on a bunch of academic spaces that are utterly useless. They are basically 5 steps above Hamas in terms of the radicalization of young people, both Arab Americans, Muslim Americans, and Palestinian Americans, but also non-Arabs, people that are allies in applying, critical race theory, critical Palestine theory, mapping out Israel and Palestine to abortion rights, women's rights, immigrant rights, Black Lives Matter,
He licks himself. That's what he does. You know what I mean? Steely Dang. Everywhere I touch him, he cleans it right back up.
The capitalism, anti-capitalism, anti-civilization, anti-this, anti-that, anti-like Western civilization. My point is, the Palestinian issue has become a dumping ground for all sorts of causes, issues, activists. And our community is not really in charge of leading this issue. Our community, and then the few leaders that we have, like that Nadim Kiswani in New York within our lifetime. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't.
You're probably better. But just look it up, Nadim Kiswani. But the few Palestinian prominent voices, Nadim Kiswani, Susan Abul Hawa, Muhammad El Kurd. We have some horrendous online social media influencers and activists.
Oh, because you're great, aren't you? You're the man. You should be the guy who's like, yeah, Israel isn't that bad. Yeah, there was a blockade, but we built malls. You know what I mean? Yeah, Palestinians should look inward and see how they can solve things. Palestinians using violent rhetoric like from the river to the sea. Bro, go fuck yourself. You're the fucking worst. You're so fucking bad that Ethan Klein has you on his podcast as the pro-Palestine representative. And now he's going to fucking poison the minds of whatever fucking dumbass watched this fucking episode.
Diaspora who might as well just get Israeli passports and work for the Israeli Ministry.
It's funny. We joke that Bad Empanada must work for the Mossad. He must be a Mossad plant because he does a lot of work to make the entire movement look worse. And so I think that's a good working theory right now.
I mean, that's why I invite these guys. Like I just say honestly, a bunch of them, they might as well like electronic intifada. Like, come on. Just please, Israel, please do us a favor and give them a passport.
Just bring them on board.
These people are the best Hasbara, forces. Israel spends and the Jewish community spend massive sums trying to promote the Jewish perspective and voices and narrative. Why waste your time? Just when you have a bunch of dumbass.
That's kind of what my point was with the shooter too. He's doing so much for the worst people. But we're running out of time here, so I want to ask you to close it up. I want to ask one, what are steps that we as people who want to do what we can to help? How do we kind of like resist push back on like Netanyahu and the psychotic forces coming out of Israel? And then how do we? Are you have an organization? Are you part of a nonprofit? What do you do? Is there a place we can donate?
Yeah, so let me start with the first one real quick. I mean, this only works. Like Ahmed is only, and pragmatic Palestinians are only successful if there are equivalent folks within Israel and within the Jewish community in the diaspora, especially, Jewish Americans.
Oh, Jewish Americans, Israelis love you. Israelis love you, and Jewish Americans who are pro-Israel and who are Zionist will love you as well. Your music to their ears. You're blaming the Palestinians for what's happening. You're giving platitudes. You're offering no real fucking solutions, and you're saying, well, if they just all work together, maybe we can have a two-state solution. Ain't nobody gonna give you a fucking two-state solution, bro. They don't even want to give you a two-state solution. Stop asking for crumbs. There's a fucking saying: if you ask for a full loaf, you get half a loaf. If you ask for half a loaf, you get crumbs. So don't you be fucking asking for a two-state solution, because you're never going to fucking get it, bro. The best you can hope for is a fucking two-state solution. That's if you try to fight for a fucking one-state solution. Again, look at his face.
And Israeli Americans. Because, unfortunately, both of our communities, believe it or not, are gripped by similar dynamics, where the number of centrist, center-left, and center-right Israelis that I speak to on a regular basis, and they're like, Ahmed, what you're describing is exactly me when I try to say, look, guys, I hate Hamas, but like Smotrich saying we're going to concentrate the population 4 days ago, and he said we're going to concentrate the population down south so that Trump's plan works and they're all kicked out, basically bragging about ethnic cleansing. Like, I tell my Israeli friends, like, and family, this is terrible. Like we can't, like...
I tell my Israeli friends and family, What Israeli friends and family do you have, you Palestinian man? What? Did he just like mask off? Did he just like accidentally say that he's telling his like what Israeli handlers, bro? What?
When he said we're going to concentrate the population down south so that Trump's plan works and they're all kicked out, basically bragging about ethnic cleansing. Like I tell my Israelis friends, like and family, this is terrible. Like we can't, like as Israelis and as Jews, like we have values. Like we're a democratic country. Like we can't get behind this. This is like a moral decay from within. And they're like, oh, you're self-hating. Like you're worse than Hamas. You're terrible. Or when they push back on the fact that Netanyahu has stalled and dragged this out, etc. So,
does he really have an IDF wife? No fucking way.
Like I would argue that it is the height of being a Jewish, being a Zionist or an Israeli patriot to call out. And you guys don't have the excuse, at least for us, we have the excuse of being under the boot of a terrorist organization, which is a legitimate excuse. You guys have democracy, okay? You guys have free expression.
I thought he was talking about the IDF for a second. I'm like, okay, he's talking about Hamas. He's saying like Palestinians are under the boot of a terrorist organization. Oh my God, with this fucking bootlicker, this fucking traitor to his people. Ya khara, ya khayin, shafet khara, انت واحد خاين يا اخو الشرموطة, كس امك بأيري يا اخو الشرموطة, مقرف.
That yes,
مقرف.
The fact that Netanyahu has stalled and dragged this out, etc. So, like, I would argue that it is the height of being a Jewish, being a Zionist or an Israeli patriot to call out. And you guys don't.
Yeah.
And they're like, Ahmed, what you're describing is exactly me when I try to say, look, guys, I hate Hamas, but like Smotrich saying we're going to concentrate the population 4 days ago, when he said we're going to concentrate the population down south so that Trump's plan works and they're all kicked out, basically bragging about ethnic cleansing. Like, I tell my Israelis friends, like and family, this is terrible. Like we can't, like as Israelis and as Jews, like we have values. Like we're a democratic country. Like we can't get behind this. This is like a moral decay from within.
They love this, bro. Israelis aren't complaining at all. They're all in favor of what's happening in Gaza. A moral decay. They don't give a fuck about the moral decay. What are you talking? Why are you giving these people credit?
And they're like, oh, you're self-hating. Like you're worse than Hamas. You're terrible. Or when they push back on the fact that Netanyahu has stalled and dragged this out, etc. So, like, I would argue that it is the height of being a Jewish, being a Zionist or an Israeli patriot to call out. And you guys don't have the excuse, at least for us, we have the excuse of being under the boot of a terrorist organization, which is a legitimate excuse. You guys have democracy, okay? You guys have free.
Bro, they have the worst fucking, Israel's a fucking democracy, my fucking asshole, bro.
Expression that, yes, is sometimes being eroded by the police violence, but nevertheless, Israel's a free society. And so, and the discourse, the diversity of discourse within the Jewish community, my impression, having as an outsider, is part of the tradition, a long tradition, you know, like 2 Jews, 100 opinion kind of jokes. You know, so I strongly hope that there is a similar push by a multitude of pragmatic allies on the Jewish side to say, listen, we need to stop Hamas from seizing a lot of the aid and reselling it and making money off of it. But we can't do that if we're...
Hamas is selling aid, is seizing aid, making money off of it and selling it. That's what Hamas... Bro, this guy's on a leash. This guy's on a fucking Israeli embassy leash or something. He works for the IDF. What is this? He's the fucking plant.
Literally like stopping anything from going into Gaza for 2 months. People are clearly malnourished. We're seeing horrendous scenes. Israel's being turned into a pariah. Israel's being sanctioned by by France and UK and Canada.
By France.
Israel's being sanctioned by France and
Sorry, one more time, folks. This guy's a fucking asshole. You know what I mean?
Israel's being turned into a pariah. Israel's being sanctioned by by France and
Sorry, guys. This is a long fucking stream.
UK and Canada and the Spanish Parliament just passed a thing like Trump is like upset and saying wrap it up. Like this is not going well for us, guys. Like yes, we want to, you know, like something's got to give, you know. So there are ways in which our allies can support us. Support the mutually beneficial realignment towards the center, towards pragmatism, towards moderation as, again, not kumbaya, let's hold hands, everything's gonna be fine, but as a realistic framework to bring down the temperature and to navigate what seems like a complete mess.
It seems like right now we just need to
You do think they should hold hands and fucking sing Kumbaya, ya Ahmed? That's what it literally sounds like.
find a way to end the war because everybody's just been pushed to the fringes. You know, it's like
we end the war, but we make sure we don't end it in a way that Hamas is still in control, because that's going to be a disaster for the people of Gaza. That's for another podcast. I will gladly come back and talk about different theories and works. In fact, I had like a 4-hour discussion with someone today on a workshop. So as I work at the Atlantic Council, where I am a resident senior fellow, but also
I'm sure he would love to come back to the H3 podcast, and I'm sure Ethan would love. Ethan, have him and Loner Box together. That would be a banger episode. Panel.
I run Realign for Palestine through the Atlantic Council, and I have a we have like our own standalone website, realignforpalestine.org. There is a donate button, and so like you're certainly folks can donate there, but also.
So he wants people to donate to his like NGO that's like funded by the fucking Pentagon, and none of the money goes to actually help Palestinians. Okay, cool.
I would encourage folks to consider the World Food Program has a Gaza Appeals page that is dedicated just for here. I'm going to give you the page that is dedicated for sending food just for Gaza, and they are incredibly capable.
Oh, that's great. What is that's the world?
Yes, I just dropped it.
So send us both links so we can put them in the description.
Yeah, I sent this link. So this is the U.S. This is the fundraising arm of the World Food Program, but all money here donated at this link goes to the World Food Program for Gaza specifically, and they're basically one of the biggest feeders of Gaza right now at scale. And then I'm going to send you. So yeah, so you can donate there if you want to feed Gazans, and I'll send you the Realign for Palestine website that I would love if people can explore. And as you navigate that website, there is there's an option to.
Can you
stop picking your fucking nose, you disgusting ogre? Look at that.
As you navigate that website, there is there's an option to.
Can you Lean? Are you?
So yeah, so you can donate there if you want to feed Gazans, and I'll send you the Realign for Palestine website that I would love if people can explore. And as you navigate.
Oh, you guys see that?
Website that I would love if people can explore.
Oh, we caught you.
And as you navigate that website, there is there's an option to.
Can you?
He got it loose the first time. He loosened it up a little bit, and then he went for the grab with the second one. You see what he did there? You see what he did there, folks?
Website that I would love if people can explore.
Oh yeah,
and
there
as
you go.
Navigate.
There it goes. It's that action. That's why you guys come into the Do Not Worry podcast. That's why we watch this shit.
That website, there is there's an option to.
Can you? Lean, are you? Can you donate 1,000 to each one of those orgs for us? And then I hope that other people will join in supporting your cause. And it's great to know that there's that.
Lena, donate $1,000 to this man's Pentagon-funded organization that does not give any money to Palestinians on the ground.
The World Food Program.
That's it. Yeah, that's really a good recommendation. Yeah,
I know those people for sure. They are like they're like they are getting food into Gaza right now.
That's great.
Those trucks that you hear about.
Yeah.
That's all them.
Okay.
And that's what.
So there it is. I encourage everyone to support. We're going to send some money to both of those orgs. And thank you for calling and sharing your perspective. It's really, really nice to talk and to see you. And I've been an admirer for a while. I've been kind of seeing you here and there, so it's nice to connect. And
I do see you liking and sharing things on Instagram. And I have long before this been following. I mean, some of your guys' videos have kept me going through COVID.
Thank you. That's so nice. Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you. Let's.
Oh, disgusting, bro. He's still a fan. If he's not a following fan after what happened to H3, then you're fucking disgusting, bro.
Let's remain in touch because I love getting your perspective on things, and I'm sure that there will be no lack of need for it. So.
Absolutely, man. Thank you, and thanks again for hearing me out for the space and for supporting the World Food Program and Realign for Palestine. Really
there it is.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. We'll talk soon.
All right. Have a great day. Thank you.
Have a great evening and a good weekend there. I appreciate it. There it is. That'd be Ahmed Fouad AlKhatib.
Ahmed Fouad AlKhatib. Ahmed. Ethan Klein, folks, the man who worked with Arab Israelis for 5 years. Ahmed. Hey, Ahmed. Anyways, folks, that's our live stream for tonight. I hope that We lost like the first 2 hours. I guess the stream got disconnected and reconnected, so we may have lost the first 2 hours of this. They may have just disappeared into the ether. Hopefully when I stop this live stream, they'll pop back up so you guys can watch the full thing in the replay. But I don't know if it will, to be honest with you. If you guys would like to support us on Patreon, please feel free to do so. It is the best way to support the small independent Lebanese YouTube channel, folks. Let me take a second to thank some of our lovely patrons who support us. 1 second, folks. Patrons list. Let me open that up right here. Got to your patrons like Elia Al-Mujabbir, Jack Sleeman, Dominic Selzer, Daniel Nechle, Emma Watson, and a Rose for You. Superhero patrons like Claudia, Fahim Joseph Sayer, and Rana F. And blonde patrons like Hani Farah, Megan Lowndes, Alex Smale, Preston Kroll, and Melissa. Thank you so much. We love you guys. Thank you for supporting us. You guys can also support us by becoming members on our YouTube channel, gifting memberships, engaging with the super chats. But your presence, your likes, your comments, your regular chats are more than enough to keep us going. We love you guys so much. And thank you for being here. Thank you for everyone who supported us today. Tomorrow, folks, we are reacting to episode 3. Let me pull that up. Episode 3 of Her Take. With a special guest and Coulter. We're going to have Nour on the show, and we might have Karine on the show. Her Take. Let me just open that up. Let's see what we're looking at here. Our favorite new show, Her Take. They're up to 40,000 subscribers. Holy hell. So tomorrow we're watching episode 3 with Ann Coulter, folks. It's already their most viewed episode, 135K. Excited. Ooh, sorry. Here we go. Excited to watch that. So we'll be reacting to that tomorrow. Myself, Nour, and maybe Karine. Someone just joined. Lisa W. just became a Do Not Worry channel member. Thank you so much. We love you. So we'll be doing that tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, I'll be reacting to Willie Mack's iDubbbz video. So we're going to do that. Thank you so much for joining us. There's a couple other things that I want to do. Like there's Twitch. There's a Zionist or Nazi. A game, who said it, Zionist or Nazi, that I kind of want to play. There's a couple of Miss Rachel videos that I wanted to watch. There's a whole lot to watch, folks. There's a whole lot to catch up on. I'm going to try to do as many live streams as I can. Hopefully this live stream will come back. We won't lose the first hour or so. Let's see what I can do to figure it out. But anyways, folks, as always, thank you so much for joining us. More live streams coming this week. Exclusive members live streams as well. We love you so much. Thank you for being here. I hope the technical difficulties didn't make this impossible to watch. I'm trying to be more chill about it. Thank you so much, guys. We love you. And as always, do not worry.